I think we're just straight up going down the nostalgia avenue since we covered Rifts last week, and now we're covering something we haven't covered in a technically ever since we covered Black
I
No,
Crusade, not this.
I mean, Dark Heresy at this point is in fact a classic game.
it is one of my
You're
first.
not wrong. Yeah, it's that old now.
Yeah, one of my first games I ever played. I guess like with a group would have been Dark Heresy. I remember we ended up going to like an old folks' home, but it was like a stasis. They were in like stasis, which
I
I
will
thought was
Yes.
say
weird.
this, at least you got to have a game. My
But I thought it
Well,
was
experience
you
with
fun.
Dark Heresy is I managed to get one session out of 5 campaigns, and this is what made me realize that Roll20 was fucking dog shit in recruiting players.
Oh, like, hi, we're Dice Scum. We're reviewing Dark Heresy. I'm
Yeah, we,
Imsa.
we usually do introductions. Name is Adam.
I'm Tech Priest.
Hello. We got a third
Uh,
guest.
it-
And
yeah,
our third person
I said earlier,
is
but
Imsit, yeah.
well, I'm Imsit, and as I said, we're doing Dark Heresy.
To put in perspective here, Dark Heresy was originally released in 2008, early January 2008. So we're a little bit early for the 20th anniversary, which I would be very surprised if there wasn't something that came out to recognize that.
Probably,
But
especially since Cubicle 7. The IP has kind of bounced around repeatedly. First, it
So
was
I was
Black Studios, then it was Fantasy
yes,
Flight,
Black Industries
Black
actually.
Industries.
The
Yeah,
they were the ones who did, if I remember correctly, I believe they were the ones who handled Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing Second Edition.
Yes, they were. So to give you some perspective, because I think it is important to get some perspective on this, the the original role-playing games were handled in-house by Games Workshop. You've got to remember that back in the late 80s to basically the early 2000s, a lot of the old heads at GW had cut their teeth doing, well, not just tabletop role playing, but like wargaming, but also role playing stuff. They were involved with, licensing publishing deals with for a bunch of different people. This includes like Avalon Hill for like things that came out of Chaosium. There's some
D and
stuff that
D,
they did with D&D was actually a big thing
like
for
that,
them. They managed to nail that.
that's actually what had them start on. We're going to make our own thing, because
Exactly.
their contract with uh what was it, BTSR ran out, and they either would have been absorbed into TSR, or they would have to go, or they could open up the distribution rights to everybody. So they said open up the distribution rights, but then they're like, why don't we make our own game? And thus, Warhammer Fantasy was born.
well, it's a bit more than that. It was that they were losing the rights to D&D at the time, or they had to renew. But the thing that really got them to think about this was they actually did RuneQuest and what was it, the other one? There was
They
there what
shared RuneQuest. They published, if I remember correctly, in the UK, they were the ones that were publishing a lot of the second edition RuneQuest stuff.
they were, and they also did the
Uh,
minis. They had their own lines for minis, and
Minis, the
they were going to
fighting,
lose
yes.
the
yeah,
license.
fighting fantasy from Steve. I think it was Steve Jackson. They were doing as well.
And they
Uh,
said, well, we're about to lose a couple of licenses. We do a lot of the miniatures designs ourselves. Why not just go into business ourselves? It shouldn't be that hard.
Right. And it's like we already got the molds. We just put new names on it. And what are they going to do? Sue us?
I mean, all we got to do is like customize them a bit. That's not too hard.
No, they
and
didn't even
they're
change it
like,
for a
what
lot
if
of
we
them.
make our own?
I
We'll
mean,
take
for the
our
Beastmen,
own.
they didn't at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They didn't actually change much of it,
And
if
then
anything, for most of their molds. But once they had made their molds and got it to work, well, things went pretty well for them. They
and
were
then
able
they
to establish an actual, you know, moderately successful middle-sized company, which,
to now the literal largest miniature gaming company in the world. Flat
yeah,
out, bar none. There is none other. And
They're not as close to Monopoly as well Wizards of the Coast is to tabletop gaming, but they're pretty close.
they're pretty close.
no, it
Well,
it goes further. Like Games Workshop is effectively speaking, if you they are
If
the
it,
Microsoft of the market.
yeah,
They
if
are the
like
big name of tabletop wargaming.
yeah, pretty much, it's either this. I mean, BattleTech is coming up as a not as a
Battletech always
rival,
has
but
been
as
kind of a rival, but not really.
what here's the thing. In terms of sci-fi miniature games, and let's say fantasy skirmish games, you need to have a licensed property or you're not going to succeed. It will just be Warhammer. There is Kings of War, there is Conquest. They are doing somewhat fine, but they're unique. They're not essentially a, the same thing as just a skirmish game.
Oh, I'm
They have their
actually
own
hurt
technical.
that you didn't talk about Warhammer Hordes. I mean, in fairness, Privateer Press kind of fucking killed it, but you
Warhammer
know.
Horde, Warhammer Horde's its own thing. But Games Workshop is the major one. What's interesting though is while Warhammer Fantasy started out kind of as an RPG game, 40k as well through Rogue Trader, they never had a role-playing game. They would eventually have you'd get Necromunda, which had a bit more of a narrative flair to it, but it was still a gang skirmish game. You then got a 54 millimeter miniature game in the early 2000s called Inquisitor, in which, yes, you
Yes.
were playing as inquisitorial agents.
Oh
This is where
yeah.
Eisenhorn comes from, actually.
This is where a lot.
Eisenhorn, as a book series, started out based on a unit that was in that game from art. I don't know who did the original art, but Abnett saw that art and was like, "Can I make the story that we're going to do for this game, the tie-in novel,
No, you're
about
right.
this
Yeah, I
guy?"
forgot about the Inquisitor game. Yeah,
This
that's where that
also
came from.
this also gave us the lore of the Inquisition because if you look back at our review of Realm of Chaos, that did introduce or at least did
It talked
explain
about
more
the
about
The
what
Inquisition.
the
Inquisitors
Inquisition
were
is,
mentioned, but
but
they weren't explained in depth.
not their
There was sort of
ideologies, not their various, I'd say,
they,
somewhat distinct
Their
ranks.
functions were covered,
let,
but how the politics in them worked
bef-
were not.
before this, the best way to describe how Inquisitors were used in the lore is they were similar to the witch hunters of Sigmar.
That's what I was going
They
to point
were
out. They were similar to
yes,
not just Sigmar, but like the was it Solkan is another witch hunter god.
That's a god, but like I remember basically what it was with your armies. You had the Hereticus, you had the Malleus, and you had the Xenos, and they were teamed up with their military faction because that's what they were. It
right.
was you had an
Alien
Inquisitor,
hunters, demon hunters, and witch
yeah,
hunters.
it,
There was also a Inquisitor book from I want to say the 90s that had like a trio of
Draco,
plots. Draco, yes,
Oh God, that one.
Ian Watson, rest in peace.
yes. Ian Watson wrote one of the most fucking unhinged trilogies of books in the Warhammer setting, and that is saying something.
But this really got into what they are as a aspect of the Imperium. Most of the
Right.
time, the Inquisitor is not going to be on the front line. They're not equipped for that.
Well, not only
Hell,
that,
you
but
could even
9 times out of 10, their entire purpose is if
yeah.
they're being seen, they're not doing their job right.
So they are meant to
Or
be
on the
the
contrary, if they are
well,
being
yes,
seen, it's for a damn good reason.
they are meant to be the ones who seek out the enemies within and without the Imperium. Later lore established this was through Malkador the Sigilite's doing to create somewhat of an internal investigatory force that was not linked to any of the Imperial hierarchy. But then you
And
got to
that got
think in terms
retconned
of
again.
Yeah, it got retconned
no,
a couple
that is the
times.
ret. No, that is
No, the
no.
retcon so the retcon of the retcon is that the Inquisition's actually founded after the Horus Heresy.
It's officially founded after. But remember, the inquisitorial symbol is the sigilite symbol.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
saying that,
It's a
but
modified version of
you're
it. Yes.
talking about the prior version. This is the new version on top of the old version on top of the old version.
Yeah,
One of the consequences of an IP being as long-lived as Warhammer is, this kind of
they do
happens.
mix stuff in. If you remember the original Inquisition, there were like 4 inquisitors. They're
Yep.
in. They're actually in the Horus Heresy. Not going to say who, but they are in the
A
Horus
couple of them
Heresy.
are.
Um,
They're also in the War of the Beast book. We're not going to mention who.
Yeah. So, but now you have the idea of a game. Okay, you're playing as essentially investigators.
You're playing as the Inquisitor's lackeys, effectively.
You're the lackeys, but you're investigators, hunting down, trying to figure out what's going on, moving through the imperial politics and
I made
various
a gag
plants
that
and
this is
whatnot.
Call of Cthulhu in space. In reality, it's closer to Delta Green in space.
I would
Kind of
actually
Yeah.
probably
is.
say more Call of Cthulhu, because you can just go completely balls to the wall. We're gonna blow up everything and figure out
Yeah,
who's the
that's
traitor
also a
later.
Delta Green option.
That is a Delta Green option. It's also an option for if you want to get executed, just like how it is in Dark Heresy.
Depending on who your Inquisitor is.
True. But the other
But
thing to
that
mention is that about the creation of this. So when we're talking about Black Industries with Warhammer Fantasy Second Edition, Warhammer Fantasy by that point of like in the early 2000s, people were starting to ask, well, where's a 40k game? Because remember, 40k really takes over fantasy in popularity around like the early 2000s.
It's a
with
combination of just not investing into the armies, but also just
the
straight
di-
up, it was
yeah,
doing gangbusters. Like,
the
the Space
disappointment
Marine
of the
units
Storm
were
of Chaos
popular.
campaign, the Dawn of War video games were
The
coming
Dawn
out.
of War was a huge thing.
You
That
have a
did
lot of
push it quite a
factors,
bit.
but now they've got this game, and it was originally, what was it, Black? I don't want to say it's not Black Isle, but
Black Industries.
Black
Black
Industries.
Industries. Then they lost the license, and it got moved over to.
No, it
Oh, no,
wasn't
they
that
did.
they lost the
Oh,
license. Black Industries was a sub imprint of Black Library. It was
ah,
part of GW. Now, the problem that they were having with this was not only just distribution, but also that a lot of the people that were working on Black Industries products were also busy working on stuff internally in Games Workshop.
mm,
So the plan was then, start a couple of years later, they handed it off to a different company, which was Fantasy Flight Games, which was based in Roseville, Minnesota. I think I've actually driven by the location where they were before when I was younger.
that's another company that's now connected to the Midwest in role
Yes,
playing
it
games.
is.
Well, it's either that,
And
heroin, or having sex with a relative. There's not many options in the Midwest.
Yeah. So
I'll have you know it's not having sex with a
Fantasy Flight cranks out so many books for this.
Oh,
Well,
for
God,
Fantasy
yeah.
Flight,
Yeah, for they do the botching of third edition of Fantasy. Here's a hint: don't use fucking cards in a role playing game.
That
they
is
were trying to
genuinely
do
their
something
worst thing,
unique.
yeah.
Yeah, but they do Dark Heresy. They do
Only
Rogue
War,
Trader,
Black
Black Crusade,
Crusade.
Black
Only
Death,
War,
Only War,
and
Death
Death
Watch,
Watch.
and then the second edition of second edition of Dark
Dark
Heresy.
Heresy. But by then, Fantasy Flight is running into some financial problems.
They lose the license. It goes to Cubicle 7, who does Warhammer
And
Fantasy
Fantasy
4th
Flight also
edition.
gets bought out by a private equity company around this time. They also lose their Star Wars license because of all this
And
shenanigans.
it's a damn shame, because Fantasy Flight, in my opinion, I think did some of the best RPG work relatively recently.
When it
Some
comes
good
to
board games.
licensed products, Fantasy
They
Flight
were
was
the West End
the
games,
top.
yeah.
You have to understand that they had their obsession with custom die outside of their 40k system stuff. Yes, they had issues with wanting to do a bunch of miniature licensed games, which was a giant cost sink. X-Wing's a great game, but that cost the company a lot of money, I would argue.
It also is a very niche product to begin with. Not because it's Star Wars, but it's like essentially trying to remove a barbed splinter from your foot to get anyone to play anything like that.
It's a neat game. I've played it before. It's fun.
Yeah,
I've played
but
it.
here's the thing.
It has its fan base.
It's a tiny fan base, though. This has kind of always been the
Right.
problem with stuff like that.
Yeah, but
Right.
back
Circling
on this.
back
Then
around.
it goes to again Cubicle 7. They do they've got the Age of Sigmar stuff. They've got the Old World Warhammer Fantasy.
And I would say they've done fairly okay with 4th edition. The big thing with
But
4th is
Cubicle
it's not
7
as good, but they've expanded it.
They have Imperial Maledictum, which is essentially
Imperial
the Dark
Maledictum
Heresy system.
is Dark Heresy 3rd edition in all respects. Effectively speaking, if I had to make a quick review of Imperial Maledictum, it's a lot of what made Dark Heresy work, but they've stripped it back and streamlined it and made it so that you don't necessarily have to be playing an Inquisition party for the game to function.
You could, yeah.
Essentially, the realization is you could have easily linked most of these together. I think the only ones you couldn't really do would be Black Crusade and to a lesser degree Death Watch. And that's only
Oh,
just
Deathwatch is
because,
kind of a nutso case.
well, yeah, because you're playing Space
Well,
Marines, so it's a little harder.
unless you go trader, unless you ended up going trader.
I still think you probably would need 3 books to kind of Dark Heresy has like a clutch together rule to how to play Space Marines. Basically, you have to stack on like, what is it, 12,000 experience to kind of match it.
Pretty much.
I'm not
There's a
even
bunch
kidding.
of
There's a
logistical
conversion
stuff.
rule for it.
There's a
Oh, they're
conversion
absolutely-
rule for it that people made because they were working off of how Deathwatch stats work compared to the standard. Basically put, there's a lot of kludges that had to be done to scale Space Marines properly into the system.
Because in
And-
Dark Heresy, if you're fighting a Space Marine, you're not
You've already
fighting a
lost.
Space Marine.
You've already lost.
You haven't lost, but you're going to probably lose half your
You're
party.
not fighting unless you're armed with all melta-guns. You're not fighting a Space Marine.
No, you can fucking
You're
smash
dying.
them apart with the right weaponry and planning. It's just you're going to lose like half your fucking party.
Yeah.
And
If
it's
that.
against one Space Marine. I'm saying this is one.
Yeah.
If it's a squad, you're dead.
no.
You're done.
But let's go on and let's
So moving on a
review.
little bit more, this was also one of the first looks at the Imperium from a ground up perspective. And that's what makes it really interesting.
True, and it also introduces
because-
a unique sector, but we'll get to that near the end.
Because
We'll
again,
get to
as
that
a war
once we get to
game,
that part.
like you're not going from the ground up.
Right. You're talking
You're
of
not you're not
top-down,
looking into how
tactical-
does the politics
strategic
work in the
perspective.
system. You know.
outside
your
of
characters
like,
don't
some of the
have
books
that
do
view,
explore
yeah.
that. Yeah, some of the character books explore that sort of stuff, like the politicking, but usually it's very high level stuff. This is a game where it's like the local mayoral candidate may in fact be a heretic.
This is essentially you do know more than the average Imperial citizen, but
Possibly.
you're essentially still playing Black Company level. If you've ever read the Black Company books, it's kind of like that.
They have no idea what's actually going on, right?
Especially since knowing what's going on, that's a great way to get corrupted and/or shot.
And that's the
Because,
other fun
yeah,
part of this game.
Because hey, you don't want to know that when you're traveling through the galaxy, you're going through the dimension of creatures and entities that want to kill you.
Oh, congratulations! You destroyed this ritual summoning demons and wiped out a cult. You know too much now, so we have to probably kill you.
We have to probably kill you. This
So-
is an unironic part of the game of like, you have problem players? Well, the Inquisitor just makes them disappear.
And that's another fun one, is the personality of the Inquisitor can very much alter the trajectory of how the game works.
And we'll cover that, but let's go through the basics. This is, if you've played this is the other thing. If you've played Warhammer Fantasy 2nd Edition, you will understand this system.
If you played Call of
Innately.
Cthulhu, if you played anything from the BRP system, you will understand this.
But there's some twists to it that kind of make it, I would argue, worse than Warhammer Fantasy. And we'll get to that once we get into the classes here.
Oh yeah, there are a couple of hitches.
Yeah.
In fairness, here's the thing. 2nd edition did fix some of the stuff. It's closer to like 1st edition, I would argue, because remember, 1st edition you couldn't pick your career. You had to roll for that shit.
Right.
You
Second
can
edition.
roll and pick.
Second
edition has
you
some
still rolled
fun
if you
stuff.
wanted bonuses, but you could choose to sacrifice bonuses to your skills or experience by just picking what you want.
Right. Your character is weaker, but you get to play what you actually want to play, or what your stats say is a better option.
Which is a worthy trade-off, in my opinion.
I think NDR has it right. Unless you buy the lore for it, you don't know shit. If you buy the lore, you have a gun to the back of your head.
Right.
And the other thing is,
So-
it just depends on, like, well, we'll get to it, but yeah.
So you start off first, your world. Now initially, we have Feral World, Hive World, Imperial World, and Voidborn. There will be a lot more by the
They,
end of the entire run.
This is the
By the end
original
of the
run.
run, this is the original core book. This is a very simple, like, we're trying to generate the general purpose.
Because we're
of
missing Forge World, we're missing Shrine World,
Shrine World, we're missing
Aggro-
Feral Worlds, Death Worlds.
we
Oh,
have
yeah,
Feral-
Feral Worlds, which
Feral
kind
Worlds.
of
We have
also
Feral
count
Worlds.
as Death
we are
Worlds.
missing Aggro World, we're missing Pleasure World, we're missing a whole bunch of stuff.
But they're just kind of going like, this is your generic options.
Especially since in a lot of cases you can kind of, as you're talking with your GM, you could just kind of go, yeah, I'm from a Feral Death World. I think Conan the Barbarian, but you have to fight like the fucking
I mean, yeah.
Zerg.
They outright say here,
Like it's
Feral
on the
World,
fringes of a
good,
Tyranid death war.
yeah,
Our Feral Worlders
good
are
for
big, strong, and tough. Perfect for a character that's good at fighting.
Hive World, can bluff their way out of anything. Imperial World, all-rounder, Voidborn, Psycho or Scholastic character. Like they're outright telling you what your character is
It's a
probably going to be.
very, very early D&D mindset where you have fighter, you have bard
Fighter,
slash
thief,
thief,
clerik,
cleric,
rogue.
rogue, yeah.
And then
Sorry,
Wizard,
cleric,
here's
actually.
wizard.
and
Yeah,
then
Wizard.
here's the thing.
I
Feral
mentioned wizard.
World
I forgot.
careers. If
You
you are from a
only get
Feral World,
access to 4.
you can only be an assassin, which could mean a death cult or assassinorum schools, a guardsman, an imperial psyker,
I always love Feral World
or
Guardsmen
scum.
because I'm just envisioning this is where you could just kind of pull out like your army from Hero Quest from RuneQuest. Just pull out your minions
Yeah,
from
you've just got
RuneQuest.
Well,
you've just
no,
got
what
praise the emperor and throw the
I mean,
lightning from
honestly,
the magic gun.
here's what you could do. You take like you have an army of Zulu, or you have
You
an
could do an
army
army of
of,
Zulu.
You
or you
could.
have an army of like what were they? The Mahdi from was it in Ethiopia?
Sudan and
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Ethiopia.
Mahdi. You could do
Sudan,
the Mahdi would be a little.
Afghans,
They would have
Boxers,
Afghan. They have
Native
Blacklocks. No,
American.
that would be feudal world. If you want Feral World, you pull out
No,
your
feral World
Lunars.
can still have
Feral World can still have it.
yeah, like high technology and stuff like that. There's techno barbarism in the setting.
Yeah, they could be techno barbarians.
I always thought Feral Worlders had to be at the level of like fucking Bronze Age or early Iron Age before it
No,
got
they
cut
usually
off.
don't understand the technology that they're using if they have it, but they can still use it decently
Okay,
enough.
okay. That makes a little
Like
more
they say
sense.
here, they could be descendants of stranded spacefarers. Also, remember, this is the Imperium classifying the world. If it
I
probably
do love the
doesn't
mental image
have
though.
a
If you just give Heidelberg man a gun, he has no clue how to use it. He just knows to
Yeah,
aim it.
yeah, he just
well,
knows how to aim it, and that's it. And that's
that's
basically
all
a
we need.
feral worlder guardsman.
Grug with rifle, not
Grug
even
with
armor,
rifle.
just
Yeah,
loincloth and rifle.
I mean, you've got the Attilan Rough
I
Rider,
mean,
which is a
they,
canonical
they, they literally
regiment.
describe this. The Catachan jungle fighters would have been from a feral world.
Right, and they use flamethrowers regularly to deal with the encroaching jungle. So, like, yeah, you can be from a feral world and still have a vague idea of most
Okay,
technologies, just like the
okay.
really high level concepts behind it.
This is where they're going to need to break down from a feral world to a death world.
Right.
Yeah, they do
Hive
mention.
worlds.
They do kind of clarify. It's mostly it's pre-Black Powder, even Stone Age. This is why I was kind of confused.
It can.
Right.
It's vague enough that it can be anything.
Yeah,
Right.
the excuse they give that is a pretty good one is if there's a type of planet that's sometimes described in the Imperium called a war world. They're called that because for the past X amount of years, it has been a meat grinder. On those
Usually, it's
worlds,
a
You're right.
couple centuries of either internal fighting over this, but they're still delivering tithes. It's just it's World War One on that fucking planet right now, and everybody's gassing each other, and the casualties are horrific. But they are producing enough corpse starch for us, so that
Yeah.
the Administratum isn't getting involved.
Also, NDR. Ah, yes, feral worlders. When you want to play Tarzan in the middle of RoboCop Chicago.
I
I
mean
mean,
that
yeah.
sounds actually entertaining though.
Welcome to the appeal of this game right off the bat is they give you a lot of options for what you can play if you know what if you know your lore enough, because they give a few examples of planets that would qualify, like Catachan, Fenris. They also offer some in the later in the book.
Yeah.
But
Too, which is
they
kind
give
of
the
fun.
example that feral worlders do occasionally. It's usually because the Imperial Guard kind of supplies them the equipment, or like the Space Marines kind of
Yes, they'll train
because
them.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
They'll
Then
they'll
we have
they'll take your
yeah.
your group of men that have been you've got Grug and Ugg, who have never seen the giant sky metal box fly before, are now put in the giant sky metal box, and the people from the Sky Emperor clan are telling them how to use these fancy light things. Grug and
light
Ugg will
staffs.
now be sent off to the front lines.
I have a funnier mental image of the enemy at the gates. Enemy at the gates,
Yeah,
where you have the commissar just silently hand them either a stubber or or a fucking
the
mag
ammunition.
or the mag.
One of them's gonna make it to the line.
Just imagine like a bunch of those old classic movie cavemen or like the ape man drawings that
Yes.
you'd see in just a
Oh, it's
bunch
the
of
Geico. It's the Geico caveman.
yeah, you just give one of them an AK-47, the other the magazine of the AK-47, and tell them to charge the orc positions on Neo Stalingrad.
Ho, ho. Oh. Which in his tongue means
A
yes, for
suicide
the glory
run.
of the god
So
emperor of mankind.
Caveman could do it.
So next, Hive World.
Hive
And
World, which is the most like Hive World's kind
These
of
are
are in
pretty
a
common,
weird
yeah.
hey,
place.
remember what Coruscant is? Remember how there's
Right,
even
but-
worse? Hey, imagine Coruscant, but every level is kind of the under levels.
The thing about Hive Worlds is Hive Worlds fall into like 3 or 4 different categories of Hive Worlds because it depends on the author that's writing them. You've got ones where it's basically like Gaunt's Ghosts with the Hive. What was it? Necro.
Vervon?
Vervon, like Vervon Hive, where it's like this is really just a big city. It isn't
yeah.
really.
It
could
doesn't
be
dominate
mega-
the
Fire.
planet.
It's not an
Listen,
arcology.
Yeah, it could be an arcology. It could be like a Mega City 1. It could be Necromunda. There's a whole
Yeah.
bunch you can take from it, but most likely you're living in the poor shit areas.
I'm surprised you didn't reference Tanis instead of Coruscant, the Coruscant of the Outer Rim. You know, the one with the
Terrace
rat
could be-
ghouls.
Yeah, but everyone knows Coruscant. They don't know Terrace.
You say that, but
Terrace because it kind of got destroyed.
What would I bring up? Nar Shaddaa?
Nar Shaddaa would
Yeah,
be
you
a
brought
great
up Nar
example
Shaddaa
of
with a
hive
friend
world.
of mine, and he had no idea what you were talking about.
But yeah, essentially they range from just really big cities that cover most. It's not always even most of the planet. A planet could be called a hive world just because they have a couple of very large city structures.
And then your
Theoretically,
careers.
but like that's more of an imperial world. Again, as I said, hives are
Wha-
very
what-
weird.
So hives, your careers you get: arbitrators, cops, assassins, clerics, guardsmen, psychers, scum, and you, tech priest.
Yep.
Although our
Best class in the
arbitrators,
game.
they are fun. They're one of the more fun ones. My favorite is
I
actually
think
the
I played one.
arbitrators, just because they are basically Judge Dredd.
Arbitrators
Yes.
are fantastic. Yes.
They are essentially
Then-
Judge Dredd. They're very fun to play.
Then we've got the imperial world, which from hyper-technological democratic societies,
Democracies do
Democracy-
exist in the Empire. It is
they
just
do.
They
'Cause
do.
The Imperium does not give a shit about how you run your planet on the local level, just as long as you get the tithes in. So yes, if you do organize, if your government organizes and has unions and has democratic systems, it's perfectly fine.
So if you have a bolt action army of Soviet Union, of the Soviet Union army, you could use them as proxies in a game.
Yeah.
And as Imperial Guard, and it would work.
The others could even be medieval worlds.
Feudal
Agri
worlds are
worlds.
very fun.
Feudal worlds
They go
are fun
mining
because
worlds, cardinal
right.
worlds, paradise
Feudal-
worlds.
the funny bit about feudal worlds is feudal worlds basically goes up to all the way into like late industrial revolution. So you can have a Victorian style feudal world if you want
That's
to.
a little too.
Which sounds awesome.
It's not quite to there. It's to the Empire in fantasy. Like 1500s is where the real cutoff is.
Yes, but I
Yeah.
prefer
No,
like
you could still have a Victorian aesthetic to them.
You
like
definitely
a
could have a
steampunkish- yeah, where it's like
Yeah.
because they do have laser weapons on some of these. It's just
I mean,
that they're in like
mining
Laszloks
worlds,
and stuff like
Imperial worlds. Those are usually where you start seeing your Steam era Victorian, because that's like 19th to 20. That's where it kind of hits Imperial world.
that. I mean, the first real steam engines were in the late 1700s.
No, the first real steam engines was in the
Listen,
Bronze Age.
Here's the thing. You can it's
Not Bronze Age,
basically
Iron Age.
it's just like the real world, except you'll have skulls on the buildings.
Which does lead
True.
to the hilarious idea. Okay, hear me out. A Pharaoh world, which you know how the Romans invented the first actual steam engine. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Feral Night World Romans, where they have
All right.
steam powered knights that are just like
All
because
right.
they're steam driven. They're larger than normal knights, but they're not as good. It's just their attempt to recreate technology.
I do think that it would be neat to see like I mean, you could put a Roman centurion helmet on a knight.
And the reason
yeah.
that they're
That'd be a
very
fun
Roman-like
watch.
is because they were saved by the Ultramarines, so that's why they kind of adopted their saviors
Or
kind
they
of
could
culture.
just be Roman aesthetics.
That too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Imagine
fun shit you
Byzantine
can
though.
do.
I still
Actually, no,
want to
Byzantine
see
would be fun
the
because
knight house with
the
like
knights would be in the games, and if the one faction of the knights lose, they just go to war with the other knights.
yes.
But we have here for our careers adepts, bureaucrats, arbitrators, assassins, clerics, guardsmen, psychers, scum, and tech priests.
Yep. It's pretty standard.
Then
And for those
Voidborn.
curious, adepts are your clerics, your government official guys.
Yeah.
Your clerks, not your
Voidborn.
clerics. Clerics is a
Yeah.
different class.
Yeah.
And then Voidborn. So, you know how we've realized that if you're going to be born off of Earth, you're going to end up being very weird?
Yeah, your bones don't work, your immune system's fucked, and you have long telomeres.
They ignore most of that and instead say that you're a fucking spooky ooky looking person.
I mean,
Well,
there's the
because these
tribes of
have gravity.
cannibals on their boats.
Yeah, because because you've got artificial gravity.
Keep in mind, an average day as in the life of a naval armsman is you have to fight the degenerate cannibals that were your ancestors.
Yep. And the Voidborn careers, adepts, arbitrators, assassins, clerics, psychers, scum, and tech priests. You're going to also, look very weird. Because, remember, you don't know what a sky is.
Well, you hate the
Mind
concept of
you,
climate.
most hive worlders also don't know what a sky is.
Which leads
But
to the very hilarious mental image of you have this hardcore gangbanger who gets recruited by the Inquisition. They take him onto like Chogoris, and he just has like an emotional psychotic break because the blue just. I'm gonna get sucked into the abyss. Ah! I'm going insane.
why is the hive dome blue?
There's nothing up there. That means that. Oh
They talk
no.
about they talk about that. It's like a all right. There's like a whole thing about how it can cause like disorientation and like
Yeah.
panic attacks in hive worlders to be exposed to the sky. Because while the hive itself has like an upper limit psychologically, like they know this, they know that it's not that different. It is still like an instinctive part of their brain that goes and it goes, oh wait, that just keeps going and going and
It's the
going.
same aspect of thalassophobia. One of the things that actually spooks me about the ocean is okay. Imagine you get thrown into the middle of the Atlantic and you just stare down.
Forever.
Yeah, there's the floor. There is a floor down there, but you don't see it. It's just blue.
We can't see it. Light does not penetrate the floor.
Well, welcome to how they feel about the sky,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So when it comes to so now that we got our background, we've got character. In fact, actually, wait. Why don't
It
we just
borrows
fucking roll?
somewhat from the tabletop game, but differently. The way it's done is via
Hold on.
percentiles.
We've got character creation. Let me get my dice.
Okay,
We're
so
doing it.
well, the very first thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to pick out which one. So which of these four are you picking?
Oh, you can roll for
Hold
that
on.
because you roll a d10.
True.
I got a
Well,
46.
you roll a 46.
It's
A 46 would be Imperial World.
Imperial World. So where am I from then?
An Imperial World. I mean, they don't really give you much more than that at this stage.
You know what? NDR, you brought up RoboCop Chicago, so it is RoboCop Chicago.
Okay.
It is RoboCop Chicago World. So, what career path are you picking?
So before then, there's
Well,
a
wait, no,
couple
we'll
of
get to that in
traits
a
you have to
second.
pick.
Yeah.
We'll have to roll traits, and then we roll name and a few other things.
You have Blessed
Well,
Ignorance,
So,
Agiography, Liturgical Familiarity, and Superior Origins.
Superior Origins. I'm from Chi-Town.
Well, you gain the following traits. You
you ain't nothing but a dog boy.
For example, Blessed Ignorance, your wise blindness imposes a -5 penalties on forbidden lore tests. That'll come later.
That's actually genuinely useful, though, sometimes.
His name is Polak.
Okay, so he's very Slavic. Understood. He eats kielbasa.
He gets common lore imperial trait. Basically you get a bunch of common lores for free. You get liturgical familiarity, which means
Literacy,
you
which
get
is actually
literate,
sometimes useful. Sometimes it backfires,
and
though.
you get a bonus to your willpower. It is
And then
pretty solid.
and then Yeah, and then we would go for characteristics. The characteristics are weapon skill, which is melee combat, ballistic skill, gun, range combat, strength, toughness, agility,
Perception,
intelligence,
willpower,
and fellowship.
and fellowship. Basically, if you've played Warhammer Fantasy, you understand the system.
It's a 2d10, and
In
you
this
do
case,
get
everything is plus 20.
modifiers.
In this case, everything is plus 20.
I'm not going to roll for it
Okay, that's fine.
because
So
we've been there.
We're
Career
just going to
paths.
say you get 30s and everything because you also have modifiers.
Oh, you're not going
for
to
the
roll
home
all of this? But come on, there's all these things you got to roll.
Because I rolled career path and I got 37.
Okay, 37.
I'm an assassin.
Okay.
Official
Starting here,
assassin
shotgun.
or official assassin or part of the assassinorum?
Well, no, because then I'd be taken by the no, just local gun for hire.
Local assassins like at the level of this are usually either death cultists, guns for hire, or professional killers that are like local governments have.
Okay.
Like, we're not talking assassinorum level people. We're talking like this might be a case where this is like the local spec
It's
ops
Chicago.
team.
It's Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
like this,
so I got my gear, I've got my weapons.
you've got your
I
Glock
know
with the
awareness, dodge. We'll go 6 auto gun with 1 clip, a knife.
Okay, so standard gangbanger equipment for getting rid of people.
Yeah.
So
do you also have
Then
the
you
ice
get-
cream?
now-
Do you have the ice cream truck to freeze the bodies so that you can dispose them of later?
sure.
That was.
But
was
then
that
there's
a
also the
Chicago
Imperial
serial killer, or was that another guy?
It's another guy. I was referencing Kuklinski.
But then we've got Imperial Psyker, which is the fun part.
Oh yeah, Psychers,
Oh, yeah.
Psychers in any
We
edition,
get to
but
psychic powers
20 in
later.
particular is pretty impressive.
But you get
do-
things like from the sanction effects, Chemgeld.
Your balls don't work.
Yeah,
Also, like pain through nerve induction. The skin on the back of your right hand is horribly scalded. You are uncomfortable around bald, robed women. Now, that's probably referencing some other sci-fi thing, but that would definitely be the Sisters of Silence.
That is, it's implied to be the Sisters of Silence, though it is a joke on the Bene Gesserit. So.
Oh,
yeah, it's referencing Bene
I
Gesserit,
completely
but
did not-
I don't know if the Sisters of... it might have been written by that
Wait,
point.
Sisters of Silence were around, but
Okay.
obviously
Yes,
now
they
that they
weren't
have
that well
models, they're more
defined.
prominent.
Okay.
Yeah.
The more weird one is Thronewed, which is essentially you're given a chastity cage.
Yeah.
You have a cock ring.
What the fuck, the Emperor?
Yeah.
I am his bride. Then we would. Let's
Oh,
see,
there's
then
also
we get-
Tongue Bound where you have tattoos.
On your
Yep.
tongue, yes.
That's a fun one.
Then, if you're a tech priest, you would get a variety of upgrades shoved into you.
And now you can start to see why tech priests are better than every other class in this game, and they will only get better as the books come in for first edition, to the point where it's like, why play anything else?
So, and then you get your
Because
stats
sometimes
for...
you just want to play a criminal.
Yep, wounds, fate points, movement, starting equipment. Yeah, in this game they decide, we're giving you money. In this case, it's throne gelt. Now, the Imperium could in no way have anything like a fucking centralized currency.
It'd be impossible.
It genuinely
This is
wouldn't
local.
work. In this case, it's usually local or the sector equivalent.
Yeah.
Right, depending on how big your sector is, and usually they talk about this as like one of my big things that when they do talk about the economy in like Dark Heresy and Imperium Maledictum is generally that
it's favor based.
A lot of it is favor based between planets, because when you're dealing with this amount of wealth, it sort of gets abstracted to a degree.
Now, let's see, appearance. So we're male. I got a 60, which is wiry. I'm 1.75 meters and 65 kilograms.
Oh, what's your age?
Age. In Imperial world. Oh, I got Oh, first I gotta roll. At a 37.
That would be stripling.
So 20 plus 10.
And I'm 30.
Okay. 20 plus d10. So then you're past. Someone handedness matters a little
Coloration.
bit. So what's your
Uh,
skin?
20. Let's see, 24.
Dark.
So dark. Hair. 52 is brown. And blue eyes.
Okay.
Quirks. Is a 61.
Pock
Pox
marks.
marks.
You have smallpox or survived it.
Then you roll for your
I
birth
survived.
planet.
Yep. Birth planet. Or no, it's the
Which type of imperial planet, basically?
Yeah,
oh,
this is how they specified originally.
28 backwater. So 1800s Chicago.
So
And then you get your
that's the
imperial
era with the
divination.
serial killer and the fires. Got it.
Yeah. I'm the devil in the White City.
Oh my god, he's H.H. Holmes, but black.
The murder hotel.
And then let's see, Imperial Divination. Well, I rolled a 2. Only the insane have strength to prosper. Only those who prosper may judge what is sane. Begin play with 2 insanity points. Eh.
All
They
right.
changed this up later on in
And then the name. 74. Let's see.
It
this table.
depends which dialect are you using.
Uh,
Wouldn't be primitive. It would at least be low to low.
I don't know. I don't feel like Solomon's Regis. I'm Regis Philbin. I'm gonna kill you now for the Emperor.
I just
Yep.
have the mental image of, since you mentioned H.H. Holmes, that's just you just murder, you just like run a death hotel.
Now, moving on to the career formats, this is where it really varies from Warhammer Second Edition
Because
because
you don't
you
go out of
can't
your career.
flex around it. This is the
You will
downside of the book.
yeah. You will get XP, and XPs will allow you to upgrade your characteristics and buy advances.
I think what happened
Which
was,
sounds similar to the career paths in Warhammer Second Edition.
it's true, but
And then it kind of fucks it.
I think here's what happened.
Because
Okay.
yeah,
I was just going to say, I think what happened was they were aware of how many fucking careers there were in the Warhammer Fantasy ones because Black Industries made this one. They
Yes.
probably were trying to limit that so that they could actually get more stuff done.
well, yeah,
They were
because
trying to streamline the process of play because one of the big
you
problems for new players with Warhammer Fantasy is understanding how the career system actually works.
Oh god, yeah,
you can
especially
see
shifting.
here, they give here like guardsman ranks as an example. You start out as a conscript. After 500 experience points, you are now considered a guard. After another 500, you are an armsman. Once you get to 2,000, sergeant. 3,000, you're a veteran. And then after that, once you get to 6,000, you can choose either to go into a scout, marksman, sniper role, assault veteran, shock trooper, stormtrooper, or lieutenant, captain, commander. So then it breaks down to: do you want to be a leader? Do you want to be a
Close
stealthy
combat.
guy? Or yeah, close combat. And same thing. What would originally be their own, I'd say, classes is now a leveled system with a progression.
And the reason they
Right.
did this was specifically because in Warhammer Fantasy Second Edition, I love it, but the prerequisites are not exactly always not
Yeah.
accurate, but it's
The
kind of a pain to set up sometimes. And on top of that, you could get into what's called a career switch loop.
Where
the
you're switching between careers a bunch of
yeah.
times for minimal benefit, if any.
Yeah.
The So you can then get your characteristic advantage, which I believe is, what was it, a +10 or a +5?
And the way this works
+5.
is that it's based on a combination of just advancing as you do and then just kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and then you could get skills or talents. And some
And this
As
be
you go
pattern.
up in different levels, you get new abilities
Oh, there is
to
one other
purchase.
aspect to highlight. The way it works is you can only improve your stats up 4 times.
Right. They
So,
wanted to limit the characteristic spamming you could get into with Warhammer Fantasy.
I mean, it was still a bitch and a half to spam it, but
Oh
hypothetically,
yeah, because you'd have to go through like 3 or 4 careers, and
But
those
then
careers would have to have a high limit on your characteristic
but
raises.
then this is why, like, we're looking at the guardsman skills.
which if you're wondering, that's quite a few ones down. Other ones, all of them have it. The guardsman is just a really good example because it's a structured, it's structured.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, guardsman, you can see here, you've got you can get the skills awareness, drive, swim. You can get basic weapons training. But then, as you get to the guard, you'll notice you can get drive, ground vehicle +10, swim +10. So even though your characteristics might not advance all the way up, you stack the bonuses through skills and talents.
And on top of that, another fun aspect is it kind of highlights, at least with the Imperial Guard. Yeah, the guard advances. They left the drop pods as mere conscripts. They returned as men. AKA, yeah, you survived via attrition, buddy.
All
And you
guardsmen
can
party.
and you can see conscript gets training las, while guard launcher. When you get to
Right.
sergeant,
Basically, they
you finally
trust
have
you.
access
Quote
to
unquote.
bolt
Yeah.
and chain weapons,
Oh, and if you're
much like
curious on what
in
armsmen are, they tend to be they tend to be like ship guys. It just kind of
A
depends.
lot of this was like rank
yeah.
stuff that they didn't really have connections to outside of the general lore. Like you can't
Yeah.
take this as like the definitive lore
Like
stuff.
you can't you could not rank up as a stormtrooper. Stormtroopers are a separate category.
Which you could then join technically with Ascension, but let's not talk about Ascension. It is
Yeah.
a silly supplement.
And you've got your psyker. You've got all it's its own system.
Yes, we then get into after that is a description of all your skills, basic, advanced, how you gain them, so on and so forth. Descriptions, a lot of fun artwork.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun
Uh,
artwork that just is really grungy that we
A
kind
lot
of.
of this is taken from prior work. I mean, you've got stuff
yes,
from John Blanche, rest in peace. What was it David Gallagher, Kapinski, Adrian Smith? The class, like at page
a lot of
100.
classic stuff. Yeah,
You go to
page
page 100.
119. I would also say is a really good one.
Oh no, I can. That's Kapinski. Or no. That's I think that's Gallagher's work because it's similar to some of the codexes in third and fourth.
You can tell from the choice of this is still using some watercolors, which that's more of a trait of 90s era art.
Yeah, you said
Watercolors became a lot
119.
less popular.
Let's see.
And the reason we're skipping
Um.
through this is
Oh no, I see.
this is a fuckload. Also,
110. 110. That's Kapinski.
Oh, that thing, yeah,
That's Karl Kapinski. The Kachan guy.
yeah.
Where it's kind of like real life-ish.
But like the proportions are slightly exaggerated. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Then yeah, you said 115. That's another Gallagher.
119 is what I was talking about.
119.
Page number.
119. Oh, that's
I don't know
was
who
that
that is, but
that
it
no, I think the previous one 110 was Adrian Smith. This is Kapinski because Kapinski did black and white.
right.
I
Like look
love
at
the
the
choice of
way.
I love the choice
Yeah,
of just
This is the thing though I've loved about Warhammer art ever since I saw it is like clearly these weapons, all that stuff, all the things on their body have a reason to be there, but they look
they
almost
still look
alien.
silly.
well,
Yeah,
yeah, because
Like
he's
he's
holding
got a
it
robotic
sideways.
eye, he's holding it sideways, he's got another gun in his hand, he's got bandolier
he's
Oh,
all
that's
going
jumping
just
up
around
the
his
against the
that's
body.
just the
building.
normal gun. That's like a heavy. That's more like a flare gun, or in this case,
Yeah.
probably just a big armor piercing,
You've got
probably
he's also got a
flintlock.
gun. He's also got a gun in a holster, and then if you look on the side um of the his robe, you can at least make out the word Deus.
Also, the choice of the bandolier that could catch on anything.
Or like the next page, like you've got this guy here. You've got
There's
these
like a
death
fight
cult
going on.
assassins. You've got
Yeah.
this thing hanging though. What is this thing? Like that's hanging above it. Is it like a camera?
I would say
Is it another
servitor.
Yeah, it's a servitor, but what's the purpose of the servitor?
But let's go over to the chapter 5, which is the armory, because this is where we get into the really fun stuff. Because this is the first time when somebody talked about actually money in 40k and how it worked.
Well, not only that, but again, another beautiful piece of art. I genuinely love the equipment this guy
I feel like
has.
this is Smith. Adrian Smith's got that almost realistic look.
Because you have a light bolter, you have a classic style pearl handle.
But yeah, this is the other thing. You've got the
fist.
pistol here. Is that you don't know? Is that a power fist? You've got all these tubes going somewhere. What are the tubes for?
I think it's either a power
these
fist or
stacks.
some type of electro fist.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if it's actually a medical gauntlet.
Could be a
Yeah,
medical.
you've got the stacks here. You've got the eyepiece. You've got the knife. It's like
I just realized.
It's human.
I just realized this is actually Warhammer 40k Aragorn, the boy who would be king. Because remember, Magic the Gathering also made him black.
That's what I don't know if that guy's supposed to be black or not.
I think he's supposed to be. It's the shading.
Could be.
It's the shading. It's the shading. I do
actually,
love
wait,
this character design.
No, I'm mixing it up. I think this is also Kapinski because I'm seeing here NPKK.
I'm pretty sure that's Kapinski then, especially since the proportions.
Some of them blur together.
They have a series of guys, and one of the things that Games Workshop has always been pretty good about is ensuring that there's some form of artistic continuity. They don't just get a bunch of fuckers. Yeah, you don't just get a bunch of fuckers and say, I don't care. You don't get like a pastel AI looking slop and say, yeah, make our D&D book.
Here we go. Collecting currencies.
So yeah, the setting that we're in.
I posted that also in our Warhammer channel in the Discord in case people want to get a better read of it. It's a very good description of like how this actually works from world to world and what's going on without dragging down everything else about it.
Yeah, because
so they've got
thing
here
about the money
on different worlds they're used differently. Skins, skulls, scabs are terms used in the hives of Scintilla. Souls on the war world of Dracothus. Many believe their money is forever stained by the blood of mercenaries, giving rise to the idea of trading in the souls of fallen warriors. Rounds used in the depths of Gunmetal City, where actual bullets are used as currency.
Metro.
Yeah. Lords and ladies. In the medieval backwater of Acreage, each noble is responsible for minting his own coins, with the value of each make of coin being directly tied to the fortunes of the lord or lady whose likeness it bears.
And then scales and fins in the world of Pectoris.
We got also chips or lumps on the mines and villages of Severus Secundus, where life is all around mining.
Again, it's fun. They actually describe that is fun. They even give you like an availability by population. They give you a bunch of stuff like how weapons,
how to procure items,
and essentially.
They also tell the GM to just make up names for stuff so that everybody has something fun and unique.
Because while there sometimes would be commonality in currency, most of the time, no. It's more. You might not even have global currency on some of these.
Right. Local. I mean, they mentioned that with like the lords and ladies.
Well, but way more than that. Like, look at what we have as a planet. Yeah, we use the dollar, but like, how many other fucking currencies are also used by
peso, euro, pound, yuan,
just
yen,
pointing it out. As for Dark Heresy, it's all abstracted in that.
Ruble.
It's all abstracted in that there is a somewhat universal currency in the sense that for accounting purposes, it's usually called It's called Gelt or thrones. It's an accounting thing. It's not like genuine. It's usually just the equivalent of your stipend.
It is abstract. It avoids somewhat of the problem that like Star Wars can have, where
what is a credit actually worth?
What is a credit actually worth? The wild cost of a credit for certain ships.
There's a reason. There's a reason why they don't accept credits in the Outer Rim. They use pegates for a reason. It's bound by the Erodium. The Erodium is what rules the world. Don't let the Munch control the Erodium. They're gonna pollute the water to make the Gungans gay.
It's true. That's actually lore. Okay, but because in the Imperium, here's the thing: money is a limited currency. You know what's not? People. There will always be more souls.
But yeah, you
And
get it.
so
You get
and
it
so payment is
stipend.
in blood,
You get a
in
stipend, and
life.
the more common thing though is you try to scrounge or you try to find, and that's where availability comes into play.
Yeah. And I do like here the
Oh, by
weapons
the
you
way,
get.
here's Calixian currencies because I am a flipper-handed moron and didn't realize that it was at the bottom of page 126.
Yeah, this is what we talked about. It's also
That's what we've
written
been
in
talking about the last 10 minutes, and
it's also written in a
in
more
cursive.
In
fancier
fairness, that's
script.
why my brain saw the cursive and just said, nope.
Yeah.
Lasgun stuff, they talk about
I
availability.
like this here though. So you got the MP las cannon. At first I thought it was a machine pistol las cannon, but
Mass
Nope.
production.
ah.
But yeah,
MP
the
las
way it
cannon
works
is
is
multi-purpose,
abundant
usually.
equals easy, and modifiers
Or
kind of
more
cheating.
accurately, man-portable.
Man, portables,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that would make sense. You've got
They also give you
auto
time
pistol.
ratings.
I do like that they have actually made the auto and las weapons different. Most times when you're in
On
like
the tabletop,
on
they're
tabletop,
basically the same weapon.
yeah,
Because,
it's abstract.
yeah,
But in this case, you've got limits on rate of fire, range, the impact it will do, the clip. Or just sorry, is clip the right one or is magazine the right one?
Magazine. Clip has been
magazine,
used
but
so
clip is,
often. Clip
yeah,
is used
it's
so often that
interchangeable
people
now.
give up.
Magazine is the
Yeah.
technically correct term because, well,
Eh,
but then you get the clips that are in fact magazines. It can get weird.
Also, availability, like as mentioned, it depends on smaller, less populated worlds. There's an entire section on that we kind of really quickly skipped through.
oh, there's even primitive weapons: bolas, handbows, flintlock pistols, muskets,
Yes, they have rules for that.
Well, yeah,
They have
feral
rules
worlds.
for
Webers,
explosive
needle
flame
pistols,
bombs. Basically, you want to throw a Molotov cocktail at somebody?
frag, crack,
Also, if
blind,
you are
hallucinogens.
curious, the best way to take out a space marine if you're forced to fight them because your DM fucking hates you, I find that using
Las cannons.
las cannons work pretty well. Meltas. Also, just a fuckload of crack grenades. Crack
Yep.
grenades do a pretty good job too.
If you take a look at the man portable las cannon, take a look at the damage roll.
5d10 plus 10.
Plus 10 energy damage.
Yeah, these are
And
usually
with 10 penetration.
these are heavy.
Yes.
These are essentially heavy laser cannons that are often used as secondary weapons on things like Lehman Russes and shit. Like you usually will prop them on vehicles, for example.
That's also why they basically need to be two-person
Also, hey,
jobs.
look at the heavy stubber.
The heavy stubber is ridiculous looking.
No,
Yes.
like the image of it.
Yeah,
I know.
let's go through. I love the chunkiness. I will say this is one of the
Yeah.
things that I have to give credit to the design ethos of
And
40k. I love the chunkiness of the weaponry.
oh yeah.
And this is what the
Also
last
auto
cannon looks like
pistol.
for those curious. It is.
Yeah. That is
God,
the man portable version.
imagine that handle.
Also, how
Oh.
the fuck do you aim that?
I imagine there's a
Well,
there should be
you
like a
see,
bipod
yeah.
or like
There
a
is an optic, but the optic doesn't really work that well.
no. I mean there should be like a bipod or like a tripod swivel or something. I feel like there should
That's what
be.
implants are for.
True. Fuck that. Fuck that. We're gonna cut. Okay, Private. We're gonna cut off your arms and put robot ones on so you can lift this gun. That sounds like something they would do.
This is why, man. This is why Space Marines hold this one.
No, I could also just envision. No, think about it. If you cut off the guardsman's arms, you can then supplement the rations with corpse starch.
Yeah.
True.
I
Win-win.
like you've got auto pistol, stub revolver, stub automatic, hand cannon, and the auto gun. And I do want to point out, so the auto gun and the auto pistol, yeah, that's on models that they have today.
Yep, they still use those
They're
types of
still, yeah.
designs.
But I like the heavy stubber. Is that an MG42?
That is a minigun. That is a minigun with a large flash suppressant.
A barrel
And
shroud like that? That's wonky, but okay.
and then we get bolt weapons, which we now know is 75 caliber.
Yeah, and on top of that, it uses rocket-propelled bullets.
Yeah. Then we get our melta-guns, our plasma pistols, our
You
hand
have to have pretty
flamers,
strong wrists to fire even a bolt pistol without breaking it.
and our muskets. And as NDR says, I use a musket for self-defense like the God Emperor intended.
It's also one of the few weapons that
Also,
felons can have.
oh, NDR also pointed this out. The stub automatic, that's a 1911.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Several of these are inspired by actual designs.
Actual firearm designs, yes. The hunting rifle, though, is I have no idea what the fuck that even is.
The hunting rifle?
Look where the okay. So if you take a
That
look at how
looks
that action is
like
placed
something I've seen before.
compared to where the barrel is, it
I
just is like okay, that doesn't work like
I
that.
love the pistol grip choice. It is so one of the choices of all time.
I have a feeling maybe they got that off the Rattling model.
I think that they did,
They
and they
did.
just didn't think about it.
I also love the pump
Or
action.
it's the Space Marine one.
It also has a pump action, which may be it might have a grenade launcher underneath.
That's just a grip from the look of it. If you can see below on the standard
It looks movable
the
though.
world shotgun, it might be removable for something else, but it's definitely not a pump. You can see the difference later down.
Ah, yeah, no slider. That's a grip. It's a grip, like with the other shotgun.
Yeah, or the bolter.
I love that the combat shotgun is just a sawn-off.
That is the
No,
combat shotgun.
the combat shotgun's on the bottom.
Yeah, it's the sawn-off.
That they use that model in
They use that model for fucking Space Marine Scouts.
Legitimately,
no
I love
in
how chunky it is because I just
Arbitrace
envision
as
using it
well.
as a mace.
oh, why am I blinking on the game?
It's heavy enough. I think you could use it as a mace. I kind of like
Dark
that.
Yeah, that's what it was. Dark Tide. I mean, same thing like melta guns, bolt guns, plasma.
guns.
They,
It's
yeah,
everything that you've got there. Then they have the musket, which is original drawing, and oh my god, it looks so good.
It looks pretty good. It
It
almost looks
looks
like
ancient, but at the same time, you can tell this isn't a real musket. There's something fancy to it.
Oh, I could tell
Yeah.
you why. You want to know how I can tell?
How?
That is both a wheel. That's a wheel, match, and flintlock. That's a
Oh,
flintlock,
all
match
together.
lock,
oh
and
my
wheel lock
God, you're
mechanism.
right.
Yep. I love it. It's so bizarre.
It reminds
I love
me
it.
of you ever see those hunting guns that you find in like Zimbabwe and other parts of Southeast Africa that are just like based on what people think guns look like?
Or they're
No,
just like retrofit
I need to see that.
broken guns. Like there's some guy that found like a clapped out AK
And
and
then
he
he turned it into
retrofitted
like
it
a
into
fucking
a
musket.
black powder musket. Yes. Like that's not uncommon there. Because it's got a barrel. You can sort of make it a matchlock.
I like here grenade launcher, same thing as the guard have, and the
The
rocket
crossbow is pretty
propelled
fun.
grenade. That they don't have.
No, they have
kind
they have the crossbow. It's right down there. It looks like a
the
rifle.
RPG
No,
launcher
I'm
is
saying in
fun.
terms of like miniatures. I don't think I've seen things the rocket
That's an
propelled grenade.
RPG set. I love it. It's basically a 40k-ified RPG-7,
It is an RPG-7.
which I love. Blindness for blind grenades. They have also a fun table of hallucinogen effects. Take a roll for that one, Impset. Let's see what we get.
Getting the hallucinogen effects.
58.
58. They've got it in for me. The character is overcome with paranoia, believing even his own comrades are out to get him. On that character's turn, he must move to a position of cover, getting out of line of sight from any other characters. He remains hidden until the effect ends.
Yeah, hallucinogens are fun.
There's also, of course, more exotic weapons like needler pistols, Webers, things like that. They then get into the melee weapons. They've got a list of basically
actually,
everything.
no, the Weber here, and that's from the older editions.
Yes,
I
they
absolutely
are.
can tell. That is a 90s based model.
It definitely is. They
But
have,
then
of
we
course,
get our
chain
swords, chain axes, power blades, which are the daggers.
shock weapons, which are they make a distinction between power weapons and shock weapons, which is important.
You're
Basically
not cutting through with a maul.
Right. You're not bad. Well, power weapons like a thunder hammer and things like that. Yeah, theoretically, you're just bashing through using the power field, but like for a shock maul,
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, no, there's no power fist.
there's no power fist or thunder hammer yet. That's actually in the later book.
Yeah, that appears in a that appears in a later book. That is one of the things second edition does have from the start, though.
They
Also,
do
they
have
do specify shock weapons are usually used in an attempt at non-lethal. It's a way to, and shock mauls are a very common element for Arbites because it allows you to actually bring them in alive so they can be judged, or just kill them.
basically, yeah, you can hit him hard enough, it'll kill him.
Also, Nicholas Lou saying there was a lightsaber in the Inquisition's handbook. Well, of course. What other weapon would Obi-Wan Sherlock Clouseau have?
The art on page 144 is a man who was told drip or drown, and brother, this man
That's
ain't
yeah.
drowning.
That's again. Look at this. Okay, look. So we've got
He's got a mace of authority.
sword arm. He's got sword arm. He's got
That's
the
a power sword
with tubes connecting to something, and then his armor himself is connecting. He's got a big ass. Is that a
pump action revolver thing?
shot? That's from Fallout 4.
That's a pump action revolver shotgun.
He went to Fallout 4. He's got a timepiece or something on his chest.
You're missing something else. There's a second underslung barrel. This is a customized revolver shotgun with grenade launcher.
Possibly, we don't fucking know. Whatever it is,
You've
it's
got
cool as shit.
So you've got the chronometer, whatever it is, and
That
it's
could
hooked
be a
up
Rosarius.
something to his eyepiece. He's got his helmet here. He's got his whip.
That's an
Aquila
electro
is a
whip.
helmet, and he's got this electro whip. That, by the way, the handle there is a human thigh bone.
And he's got an animal pelt. There's a story to this to this guy. I don't know what
you
his
forget the
story
best part.
is.
He has fucking cowboy boots.
Oh wait,
he has cowboy boots.
And no, what he's wearing, that's got to be like Napoleonic kind of like military outfit.
It's a Napoleonic jacket, but he's wearing leather. He's wearing leather pants.
Those
are riding
Warhammer.
leathers.
That's to me what it looks futuristic and ancient at the same time.
But yeah, they have their rules for armor, which is
You've
standard
got
stuff.
Yeah, your flak, mesh, carapace,
and for those
and
curious,
power armor.
AP, that's the stuff that it has to go through before it hits you. Word of advice: if you're playing games like Dark Heresy, much like with things like Cyberpunk, use cover. If you stand out in the open, you will die like a frog in a fucking blender, and you will deserve it.
Flak armor is also relatively cheap and widely available. Grab it.
Even if you're an adept, you want flak armor just in case things get ugly.
If you can't get it, at least get heavy leathers.
Yeah. Nicholas Lou here saying average rogue trader intimidator. Yeah, that guy could be a rogue trader intimidator, could be a rogue trader, could be an inquisitorial agent, an imperial governor.
I was thinking imperial
military
governor.
Guy.
I was thinking imperial governor or.
But that's the thing.
Well, actually, because of the hat, he could also be a local cleric.
Yeah.
He could be an imperial like charterist captain. He could be a part of the administratum and literally just be a bureaucrat.
Yeah, I was thinking if you're going with administratum, he could be the official tax collector. Like, imagine him with a pair of arbides going through like the hive, trying to make sure that everyone pays their tithes.
And there's you've made the story.
I feel like this is a man who leads a unit of arbides to get their damn taxes.
It's not like Star Wars or Star Trek where you see a stormtrooper, you know what it is. You see a guy in a Starfleet uniform, you know what it is.
But yeah, they go.
There's imagination there.
Right, they have all of their equipment you can get. It's notable that one of the things that they immediately talk about is explosive collars.
That's one of the very first things they mention. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they do mention clothing in the Imperium. For very quickly, it gives you different quality.
Design wise, it's
you'll get coveralls, rags, body gloves, billow robes.
Billow robes are really cool. It's basically special lighter than air material that seems to float and drift around wearer as they move, which is incredibly impractical, very impressive, and thus usually only for nobles. Because who else can afford to have something that's that useless?
And then we've got the drugs.
Oh boy, the drugs. They've got a lot. They've got Amasac, which is whiskey.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
It's actually more brandy or champagne. It's processed from wines usually.
Yeah. You've got detox. You've got Frenzon.
Frenzon.
Injector. Frenzon. Low sticks, your med kit, your obscura, which I believe that's the one that stim's the one that gives
Obscura
you
is
psychic.
basically like
Or no, it's spook. It's spook.
Obscura. I basically say it's a bit like a
It's
mix
LSD.
between LSD and morphine,
And then you've got recaf.
which is
Coffee
well,
tea. It's
it's
coffee tea.
coffee tea.
Yeah. Oh, you're
Blues,
right. It's both.
Sacred Machine Oil. Spook is an interesting one because that gives you psychic powers.
Yep.
Stim is basically PDP.
And slot, which is heightens awareness, improves reaction time, but cause fatigue and neural damage. Oh, that's just cocaine, isn't
It's
it?
It's just meth.
methamphetamine.
Oh, it's meth. Ah.
Yeah, it's meth basically. The tools, which are about what you
Your
expect.
Auspex, Data Slate, Las Cutter,
Word of advice: you're gonna
Magnoculars.
want to get your hands on at least not all of them, but you're gonna want to get your hands on some good
Actually, wait. I just
toolkits.
realized it's called Magnoculars,
Yeah,
not
because
Minoculars.
magnifying. Yeah,
It's both yeah, because it could be. It doesn't have to be binocular at all. It could be like a telescope that does it.
Yeah. Then you've
cybernetic
got
stuff where they talk about
yeah.
replacements for that.
Uh,
Nothing special. The psychic
I
powers
like wait. I like
is
here writing kit containing papers, inks, and quills,
Yeah, you're not
yes.
gonna waste
not
data.
pencils.
You're not gonna waste data. Like you don't understand. Data pads are kind of expensive.
And yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't use paper. I'd use vellum.
They usually use
Well,
vellum.
yeah, they use the vellum
Hmm.
for more important records because it
And
looks
that
cool.
It preserves better. Also, they
then
give
They
you
you've got
yeah,
different grades of services. My favorite being for medical care, where you could just go to the Feral World Shaman and he can just drill a hole in your head to get the demons out, which might
yep.
actually work.
It could actually work. Inch 30 metacase skill.
then
I
you've
mean,
got cybernetics.
the cybernetics is it's most of it's pretty standard stuff like bionics.
They just
Yep.
have nice pieces of art for it.
Yes, they've got the fun
A good old
Vitruvian
Vitruvian
man.
man, which halfway through is just a cyborg.
Yep. There's also, of course, the stuff where they talk about like the mind impulse unit and all
Pulsing.
this other stuff.
Yep. And then look,
Psychers.
hey, Inquisitor Draco.
Yeah.
Oh god, it
That
is
is
him.
that is Jock Draco.
Oh god.
And then we get a piece of John Blanchard on
Oh
page
yeah,
159, where he's
like
talking about witches and psychers.
you can like again look at this guy.
Kind of reminds me of Amano's art a little bit.
Yep.
Like
They also talk, of course, about blanks or untouchables.
yeah, am I a psyker?
To be
The
formally
levels of
one,
psyker. Yeah, formally a character must have a psi ranking, and then your levels based on the kind of psychic you are. Are you a telekine? Are you a telepath, a biomancer, or a pyromancer?
And the reason they do that is so that way you don't have the power to have all the powers. Essentially, you pick a role.
pick what you're specializing
And
in.
yeah, and you want to make sure that. Well, the next image shows us what happens when your psychic powers go amok.
You become a hydrocephalic with a bunch of metal stuff running out of you, and you gain a really funky wagon wheel of peace.
So this
we
is
now
one of the
get into
psychic phenomenon, which is one of the things. So people who want to play psychers, this is something that you're going to have to deal with. Anytime, if I recall correctly, it's anytime you get doubles on your
It's
rolls.
dubs.
Yeah, it is like as my players did in my first game of running Dark Heresy 2, summoning a demon.
That
that
happened.
didn't happen to me.
That happened my first game running Death Watch for some friends.
Heralds of the Warp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Let me see what I
Psyblast.
could find, because I've had a few occasional cases of psychic phenomena that actually resulted in some hilarious results.
Yeah, you got Demonic Mask, Warp Guy, Psych Discharge. I do like here chronological incontinence.
Time warps around you. You blink out of existence and reappear like a certain amount of time later.
That is just such a beautiful way of describing it, though.
Yes.
Yeah, Dark Summoning. A lesser demon pops into existence.
That's a lesser. The last one, there's a worse
Daemon
one.
Host. Yeah, you have to pass a hard willpower test, or you become an unbound Daemon Host. And then a Warp Feast.
You just
Rift
disappear.
is a rift in reality is torn open and the psyker is sucked into the warp with a little burping noise. He is no more.
You are vored by the warp, basically.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I actually had a case where the psychic phenomenon somehow managed to actually help my party. I don't know how, but basically what happened was it was one of the results where I think you hear voices, and because they also critically succeeded on a roll, they basically it was like a weird combination of critical success and explosion, exploding dice. It
Hmm.
accidentally made them think one of the other characters who had no psi potential and was just some schmuck was an Imperial Saint.
Warp
I mean,
whiskers,
that
I'm
could do
presuming.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then because of belief, the end of the campaign actually culminates in them salvaging a fleet that almost got lost in the warp
Wow.
Right.
by
There's a bunch of
channeling a
minor.
bunch of
And yeah, they
by
give
Yeah.
us.
channeling a bunch of psychics
There's a
to
bunch
help.
of minor psychic powers, some of which, some standouts that I think that if you are a clever player, you can really, really use this. Wall walk. Bend gravity to your will. You negate all penalties from lower high gravity worlds. In addition, you can walk on walls or ceilings as long as this power is active at half your normal rate. But there are so many tricks you can pull with that.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a lot of really good ones.
Unfortunately, it only applies to you. Otherwise, I would say give it to the assassin. But
Hmm.
there are still so many tricks you can do with the
Precognition
psychic.
is also pretty fucking useful.
Then we've got
Precognition.
biomancy.
Call item is also pretty good.
Flashbang, just
Like
blind people.
I like
Yep.
here with biomancy, blood boil. You cause their heart muscles to accelerate their pulse until blood pressure reaches lethal levels.
Basically, you're giving somebody a hemorrhage, or more accurately, like an internal hemorrhage. A few of the other ones in biomancy that are pretty
Hammerhand, obviously.
hammerhand, obviously. Seal
Cellular
wounds.
control is really funny because it allows you to just tank being in space.
Yes, it does. Shape flesh can actually be pretty strong if you're running it right.
Hmm.
Divination is
Yeah.
divination.
Although I'd say if you're starting to do that, that's kind of a bit heretical.
It can be, but you've got to know what you're doing with it.
Divination, actually, divine shot, farsight, precognitive strike. Um,
Essentially, these things usually allow you to see the future, and the way they even give, if you're curious, they give degrees of success. In these cases, it kind of tells you by how much it works.
oh, Holocaust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because remember what was the original word of Holocaust? Burning.
Yeah, just fucking incinerate them.
It was just odd. It
Telepathy.
was just odd as a young Jewish boy to see that in Warhammer. I'm like,
What?
it just means
Yeah.
burning.
what, what,
Divinate.
why?
Pyromancy is a pretty strong discipline overall if you just want to do damage.
A closing start here. Which editions of Warhammer Fantasy 40k different RPGs is the best one?
It's the version that you got
That's a
into
hard one.
first.
I honestly
I
gotta
would
say,
ar- I would
right
argue
now,
that second edition Dark Heresy is better than the first,
eh,
aside from the lack of books. The mechanics are a bit better put together, and
I
that does matter a lot, at least to me.
I have to say, Old World Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I'm liking how they are now. Really good. I've played one game of 11th edition as it just came out, and I think it's fine. I think they've nailed some stuff down to make it not as overly crushing. But if you want very narrative, very fluffy, you go 3.5. You go third edition.
I'm a miserable
Maybe like
old.
mix of third to fifth.
I'm a miserable old, so anything pre Primaris is usually my bread and butter for 40k. Out of the RPGs, I think my favorite out of the lot from the box is probably Dark Heresy, at least for 40k. I like the other ones fine. I think the longest game I ever ran was actually for Only War. I've had fun in Only War quite a bit because just playing guardsman is fun. For fantasy, Old World has potential. It has to go a little longer before I kind of say anything about that. For fantasy, 2 probably has the richest experience for the Old World. Fourth edition is if you really want to get outside of the Old World. because that's where you have stuff for Lustria and so on in terms of RPGs. 3 can go burn in a fucking fire and die screaming. I don't really care for Sigmar, but then again, I also don't really care that much for Planescape. So take it as you leave it. Take it with a grain of salt. That's my take on that.
I would want to one day though try like Rogue Trader Second Edition. There are people
Rogue
online
Trader is quite fun.
doing like narrative Second Edition battles with the old miniatures, and it's quite fun.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's some weird fucking lore, and it also allowed you to play a squad army before Votan came around because they were gone
Yep.
for like a couple decades.
But then we've got like telekinetics, telepathy, further psychic powers. We then go into like playing the game and the tests. The test, it's a D100.
It uses your stats
Yeah.
effectively.
Hit the target, get below it.
That bigger your skill, like let's say you have a skill of like
The-
42 because you're really good at something, you're all like a 32. That's like 2 degrees of success because you got 10 under. If you got like a
and
50,
reverse,
you failed. You barely
yeah,
failed.
and reverse for the failure.
And the reason and the way degrees of success work is every time you're 10 over, that's an extra amount of success.
The thing is though, you're not there's a lot for combat. Your goal is to investigate. Your goal is to figure out what's going on, who's the actual heretic, and then approach them and annihilate them in a fury of the
Which
God
is where
Emperor's
critical
wrath.
damage comes in, which are the best tables in any RPG book published.
Yeah.
Exploding
Also,
dice are also. This is another thing.
Well, closing. What I mean first edition Rogue Trader, like the Warhammer 40k, as it's called,
Yeah,
not the
because there's
RPG.
the RPG, which is also pretty good, but the minis game,
Because
it's much more lighthearted.
It's just because you could end up having a warband of like squats, skeletons, orcs, chaos tyranids, whatever.
They have no idea what they're doing yet, basically.
You're fighting some orcs on a planet, and then all of a sudden a squat biker gang appears. That is something
Yeah.
that can actually happen.
You can have the guys from Alpha Complex from Paranoia show up. There is an actual
There is a
mission for that.
crossover. So legitimately, you could have a bunch of dudes in fucking red jumpsuits with like a variety of guns screaming about "kill all communists." That could actually happen. They pop out of the ground. You could
Oh,
no
oh,
no
wait,
no
no.
you
I
could
no, I got
accidentally no you're fighting like say like chaos traders, and then
mhm.
you trip and fall into the sewer. You know it's like a
You
bombed out
fall into
city.
Alpha Comp.
No, you fall into the sewers, and then all of a sudden you just bust out the Skaven army, because that does happen more often in earlier editions.
No, I have this idea. So remember, the Red Gobbo exists.
Yeah.
The troubleshooters get on the planet, and they try.
I mean, if
Because
they're on the
they're dumb as
planet,
shit.
they're already
Yeah.
untrustworthy.
Well, they're dumb as shit, and so the Red Gobbo goes to them and says, "Oh, yeah, we scrapping with these guys. You want to help us, or you're going to be food?" And it's like, well, he's red clearance. We could trust him.
I mean, he's also like just a mutant. We've killed mutants before. We'll kill him after there's.
Yeah. Oh, I like this here.
Oh
Page
yeah, Nicholas Liu has
194.
referenced Grendel. There's several stories involving
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight. And this is one of the things I really have to give credit to Fantasy Flight. They took the fan participation and actually played with it. They did reference Grendel in one of the Dark Heresy books specifically because of the
They've
incident
referenced other
involving the demon.
memes.
My favorite is they drew a piece of art with a Vindicari assassin that's about to shoot a Farseer that looks like Taldir.
Farseer, yeah, of course they did.
And if I remember, his numbers are very close to the one from the Lovekin Bloom. Yeah. Like his number is like one off from Lovekin Bloom.
Yeah. There's a lot of other kind of like just
page,
little hidden references they hide and stuff. But
wait, page 194, the tactical map, and they reference you can use 28 millimeter miniatures was still playing out combat. They knew you were going to use your miniatures.
Well, no, it's because remember Black Industries made it first, so they kind of had to factor in.
Well, they were assuming that part of it is that with Black Industries, even with this, is it's like they're assuming you have a Warhammer Mini.
Yeah, like you have.
Why else would you get this game?
So,
Well,
Which
maybe you don't want to invest in the miniatures, but you like the setting.
well, you see, what happened was I played a Dawn of War game, and then I saw how expensive the minis were, and after blah blah blah, I've repeated the story, but basically, yeah, I came in
Yeah.
through an oblique path.
Hey, don't worry, you still have time to join us in the miniature gaming sphere. You still have time.
Is that a threat?
No, it's a
no, it's just a
prophecy.
statement. Anyway, like again, you get on from there into like all of your
Like
other rules about
combat
it.
circumstances, ranged
Critical effects,
fatigue.
though, are like the fun bit. Like I
This
want to
Oh
get to
yeah.
this
those.
is so second editions. This is like one of the few ones that second edition kind of lacked on by comparison, but first edition really did it well.
So we
First
go.
edition did this,
Yeah,
and part
we
of it was that this is from. It's a modification of the tables you got out of Warhammer Fantasy Second Edition's criticals.
And those are
but
fun.
even because like let's see here, critical energy effects for the head. So if you're being shot by an energy weapon, you could just be dazzled for a bit and leave you blinded.
Blinded.
Burn the flesh from your head,
Yeah.
in which you lose you gain 1d4 fatigue, you are permanently blinded, and you lose your fellowship by 1d10. Unless your
Because
fellowship
your
is
face is
10 or
melted.
less, in which case nobody notices the difference. At 8, you're dead. At 9, you're not only dead, but your brain explodes.
Yeah.
At
And
10
10,
plus,
This
you
one's my
catch,
favorite.
except the entire body catches fire and runs off headless 2d10 meters in a random direction. Anything flammable it passes, including characters, must make an agility touch or catch fire.
That's hilarious.
again, it's one of my favorite bits about like these tables is that sometimes the results are like, okay, then it's like, wait, what?
Arm. The
Funny enough,
attack
for
reduces
art,
the arm to a cloud of ash and sends the target crumbling to the ground, where they immediately die from shock, clutching their
you
smoking
only die.
stump.
So here's the thing: you only die from our effects on a 10 plus.
Yep.
Basically, if you somehow survive and you got the crit, then this is the effect, or you got a 30% chance of just dying.
Impact, something,
Oh
impact.
god, yeah, the body one, they actually talk about the body fat seeping out of your clothing when
Ooh,
you burn.
ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty impressively disturbing. Oh, and also on higher criticals on body, if you're carrying ammo, it could cook off. It just
Oh
cooks
no, I like
off.
here.
Yes.
Melting the skin and popping his eyes like superheated eggs.
Where's that one?
Ah, nasty. Like impact head. The target's head bursts like an overripe fruit and sprays blood, bone, and brains in all directions.
Yeah. You could also potentially get another guy on 10 plus. Oh, 9 for impact on the arm. In a rain of blood, gore, and meat, the target's arm is removed from his body. Screaming incoherently, he twists about in agony for a few seconds before collapsing to the ground and dying.
I just you can it's really just visual. Like I could
Right.
see this being written in a Judge Dredd comic.
Right, but
I mean,
once
you
we
can
get
play it
through
our
this
way.
section, we get to the
Drawn.
section that I think is the most impactful in terms of the legacy of this game.
Well, no.
What phase?
There's a couple more that I want to go through. The head ones are always fantastic, like the explosive effect. For this one, you kind of have to read 9 and 10. 9. The target ceases to exist in any tangible way, entirely turning into a kind of crimson mist. You don't get much deader than this, except, as above, except such is the unspeakably appalling manner in which the target was killed, that any of the targets who were within 2 meters of where the target stood must make an immediate willpower test or spend the rest of their turn fleeing.
I'm saying for 10, the explosion went up the asshole first.
No, that's the
You
body
felt
effect.
yeah,
Oh god. Pieces of the target's body fly in all directions.
as he is torn into bloody gobbets.
Gobbets. It should be gibbets or gobbets. It's fine. It's probably gobbets. It's probably they test.
Rending 9 for the head, with a sound not unlike a wet sponge being torn in half. The
Oh
target's head flies
god.
free of its body and sails through the air.
As above, except the target's neck spews blood in a torrent.
Wait, no, I like for the arm. If it gets sliced off on a 10, There's a 5% chance that a single randomly determined target within 2d10 meters will be shot.
Oh yeah, have you ever
They're holding
seen?
a firearm, yeah.
Well, no, if you've ever seen the Predator, that remember that happens to one of them.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
do you think it's in there?
It's a lovely reference to it.
Rending for the leg, though. So you die on a 9, but on a 10, the tide of blood is so intense that for the remainder of the battle, anyone making a run or charge action within 6 meters of this target turn must make an agility test or fall over.
For a horrifying instant, I was just imagining like, how is he still pumping out horrific amounts of blood? Like he's
Just
been dead
slipping
for
and
5
sliding.
minutes.
Yeah, it's like a slip and slide of the battlefield.
Closing straws. Isn't there a few crit charts for Warhammer Fantasy made by a med student?
That maybe.
Maybe.
Probably, but that's not what we're referencing here.
But you wanted to go to the lore section.
Yes, because I think this is actually the most impactful part of this game.
The
I
Calixus
also realized here
sector, yeah.
from the GM setting, at least they already say here, like one of the subtitles, we're on a mission from the God Emperor. They were already making references.
Yes, the Game Master section, though, starts out with how do you actually run this game, and then it talks about the Inquisition.
The theme. Now, a lot of this Inquisition stuff would have been in the Inquisitor miniature game.
Yes,
But that
but
wasn't
a lot of
really
what they talk about here
extensive.
is like how you run this as an investigation game, how you add all of the other stuff. They've got their fear effects, their insanity effects, a bunch of other like shock table stuff, mental trauma. They go really hard on that. These characters aren't going to last too long. They introduce
They're seeing
chaos to you if
like
you've never had that before, and then it goes into the actual like stuff about the
like
Imperium and how it functions.
hey, anyone seen True Detective season 1?
Yeah, they go into
Yes.
You will not be able to avert your eyes. You will see that multiple times.
For example, 1 minute to midnight. Yeah, the Calixus sector is one crisis away from collapsing. They mentioned the Tyrant Star, which is something you can use. We might talk about it later. There's taint in all things. Basically, corruption is an aspect that has to be handled at all points. Libraries might have tomes that corrupt and rot within. Essentially, there could be chaos tomes in libraries that you have to look for. There might be government orders that were written incorrectly or on purpose, or
Like you have to remember this. Gene Stealer cults literally encoded the Gene Stealer virus into food that was sent out across the Imperium.
yeah, that did
You have no
happen.
idea if what you're eating might turn you into an alien parasite.
Most of the time, you're working with material that you might not know how to work. Like even
The
the tech priest.
technology,
Now, here's an
like
example. A tech priest might actually not know, for example, how or why this machine works. They can get it to work, except on bad days, like error 17B has occurred. This means we need to do a different ritual. It will require 2 days because I have to consult the spirits, and you have to actually get like a servitor that is designed specifically for 17B that was made like 5,000 years ago to fucking solve it for you. Because you don't know. You don't know like half the shit of how this works. Because you're working with technology that at this point, most of the knowledge is gone. And you're not playing the people who actually have a vague idea. You're playing the grunts.
and the thing is, what happens when the machine starts talking to you?
Is that a demon or is it supposed to do that? That's the other thing. Oh, and also if you're not a tech priest or someone who has the permission to work with the machinery, yeah, at any point you could be judged as a heretic, and get killed.
They're going onto a world, you might as well be going onto an alien planet.
Yeah, because you don't know
The
how
way
half
they'll
that culture
talk,
will work.
communicate, and act is entirely different. They will be hostile. Like there's a book, it was one of the Warhammer crime ones, but like the local community just starts lynching void-born people because they just don't look the same.
I'm just envisioning you go to a planet and just out of and just to annoy and disturb them, you begin speaking Dutch at them.
Or like a space marine. Like you see the noble ultramarine or the blood angel, you know, there's this armored behemoth that doesn't really talk to you, and then just eats a corpse.
He just rips the head off and eats the core. Or alternatively, you know that battle, you know the small team of battle brothers you were teaming. Yeah, they suddenly start screaming about Horus and ripping and tearing everyone, including
What
themselves.
is? And then you mentioned Horus. You don't know what that word means, but then you're taken away.
All just because some guys in red went crazy, and you just somehow survived.
Let's go to page 223. Like, look at that.
That's a Calixis.
Well, no. Is that imperial or is that heretical?
The snake?
The whole thing.
You don't know.
It's Gothic, is what it is.
Right. There's a lot of what they again. This section's good, but I think the more impactful section, and we don't really have time to go through all of it.
Pick the
But
best example here.
but I think that one of the big things that they talk about, and I think it's a very good picture for giving you an idea of like the complexity of the Imperium. These sections also have a lot of Blanchard.
Oh yeah.
Because, like, we
Uh,
have his classic.
Like for example, 228 with the bondage chicks, which I think are
I would
supposed
say
to be assassins.
248 is actually, I
245
think,
as well. Like, you just get the emperor.
yes, but no, I mean 248 I think is a very good summary of like how complex what you're working with
Also going
is.
insane. Yeah, inevitably you will probably crack. Corruption's also a mechanic that you might deal with eventually. And by might I
Because
mean
they
you
go
probably
through
will.
everything that you need as a GM to understand the Imperium and how it actually works.
In which we mean it doesn't.
Right.
There
And they
is
go
no
into
hierarchy.
why.
There is no hierarchy. Within organizations and institutions, yes, but everyone will be competing with each other.
Right. They talk about this directly. They even talk about the Adeptus Custodes.
Referencing that, yeah, they never leave the inner sanctums and serve birth, death in their hallowed halls.
That's
That
been
will be
retconned
retconned
now, but you
because they
that they
didn't have an
even
army back
mention
then.
right, but that they even mention that is an indication of like how in depth this book was going
Oh, and
into
they
the
have a
structure of the
lovely
Imperium.
image that shows how fucked the structure of the Imperium is. Look at this.
Yes, that's what I said. Like that's the 248, where it's like
So,
it is a clockwork mechanism that is
because here's the thing.
nonsense.
You are a planetary governor, and you're requesting aid. You need to go to the Adeptus Telepathica. The Telepathica are the people who handle the messages to and from, because remember, messages are sent through the warp. Let's say it gets to the Administratum, because it will get to the Astronomicon or whatever. It gets to Terra. If it's deemed worthy enough, it might get up to the High Lords, but if not, it will probably go to the Administratum, who will then decide what needs to be done depending on the circumstances. Or
And
perhaps it's a
and it
tithing
depends on who
issue.
you get.
If it's a tithing issue, it then would have to go to the Arbites. But what if the Administratum doesn't want the Arbites to know that? Well, then they might direct the Imperial Guard, who they have control over, to handle the situation. But maybe, perhaps, a cardinal catches wind of it and wants to make sure that whatever assets are on the planet are protected. So he requisitions some Adeptus Sororitas, as well as contacts within a rogue trader that then contacts an Adeptus Astartes group to land on that planet to help. But then the Inquisition has an experiment going on there that they don't want to get uncovered, so they contact the Imperial Navy to direct assets there, along with Adeptus Astartes that they have control over, to go over there. And now finally, the threat, which was we're suffering a minor outbreak of a certain disease, can you send medical care, might revolve into a whole full-blown war.
It can lead to that. Another example that could just kind of happen is you might stumble into one of the most annoying elements of politics. Let's say that you're part of a hive world which requires atmospheric scrubbers to keep the atmosphere clean because naturally you overproduce carbon dioxide, right? Scrubbers are starting to fail, so you got to contact the Mechanicus. There's a problem with that. They're not willing to talk. They're in the middle of a tizzy fit because your sector is basically having issues with tech heresy. Or maybe you fucked up and tried to fix it, and they noticed it. So because of that, they're going to try to bring in their Skitaria, and then you're begging for help. and then you get into a potential schism war over the fucking Omnissiah. All because you were going to suffocate on your planet. And don't get me started, and don't get us started on the rogue traders, because that can just happen. They can just show up with their letters of marque. There's a lot of ways that things can interact and go wrong.
Yes, and it's part of your job as a GM to understand some of this. They also have a really nice map of the Imperium.
Yep. With
They also give you the types of culture that exist as well,
yeah,
which is very useful.
like they
They
give
go into all of these.
references to very mainly this one. I don't know if it was taken from an orc codex because they're referencing orcs. The Archmaniac of Calvera, the Overfiend of Octarius, rest in peace. The Arch Arsonist of Caradon. And of course, where the Calixtus sector is, which is right, which is kind of north of the
It's
Oculus
close to the eye,
Terrapus.
but it's beyond. It's not like next to the eye.
It's close-ish to the eye, but yeah, it's actually kind of far. It's nearer to the Halo stars, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
In modern lore, though, it's on the Dark Imperium side, the place that's blocked from the Astronomicon, or at least mostly blocked.
Yeah, they're kind of fucked.
Yeah. But then yet they give travel, the charters captains, the navigators, which, yes, is a Dune reference. It's entirely a Dune reference.
It's a big Dune reference, and that actually leads to another.
They literally can turn into fish people.
Which also leads to the other fun thing of you hate the mutants, but you have to deal with mutants to actually do this, because these are the only
The
guys that can
Imperium
charge you.
runs.
Well, unless you have that one cardinal that's like, no, we don't need to use them. We can use our own bodies. Through the blood of the Imperium, can we descend through the tides of the Worth like a cleaving blow?
Those don't usually go well.
Yeah, they don't go well. Daemons, Xenos.
I mean, hypothetically, if you go deep enough into the warp, you actually get into a semi-meta stable element, but that's like one of the worst ideas you could fucking do.
I've keep heard of the Deep Warp.
What happens is in one of the books, that is actually something that I believe the White Scars are able to pull off. It still kills like 90% of them to get there. And the reason they did that was so they could get the Terra faster, because it was the only way to puncture the warp storms.
Yep.
You don't want to go into the Deep Warp. You really don't. It's not a nice place.
Well, getting there is hell, and then getting out is also hell. And being in there is a different type of hell.
I like here, again, section on organizational disagreement. Regrettably, even the true organs of galactic governance have become embroiled in disagreements with each other. The very creation of the Imperium as it stands today was entirely predicated by the actions of War Master Censored Code 15/775/Sigma, and one only has to look at the wickedness perpetrated by High Lord Goge Vandire.
I'm surprised that he wasn't censored.
That was. The code was censored.
No, Goge Vandire. I'm surprised.
Goge is great because Goge is an example of the bad things that can happen if you don't listen to the God Emperor.
Remember, Goge was not a heretic. But to see it as inadvisable to rest too much power in the hands of any one of the Emperor's hands. It is only fitting that each adept should maintain a healthy suspicion of his peers. Divided we stand, united we fall. E unis pluribum. Taken from the Inquisitorial Omnibus of Actual Governmental Destabilization, Volume 987, Chapter 2, Threat and Consequences. Passages quoted penned by Explicator General Diomedes Gan of the Cross-Ordo Harmonization Conclave, M363679, revised by Inquisitor Eusebius Bale, M39.4487.
Also, there's just some good art of the different threats.
They had 987 volumes on destabilization government, and also the reversal of the United States message.
Yeah, they have a lot of, again, this whole section is fantastic. If you've never read anything about 40k before, this entire section of the book gives a fantastic rundown of how it works, how the Inquisition
They
works,
mentioned the
how all of that
commissariat, which
gets
is
built.
very important because at some points you might be forced to inspect army units, which means you have to work with these guys.
You've
And
got
then
the Imperial
lastly,
Navy.
yeah,
Mutinies are not unknown, and the naval security battalions are a familiar sight on the decks of all naval ships.
Yeah, and then again, like I said, there's like communities of people that live in these fucking ships.
You've got the Space Marine chapters. You've
they
got
talk about,
They mentioned the
again,
Grey Knights,
everything.
Death
the
Watch,
superstition and faith.
which is important because here's the thing: you're working in a theocracy. You have to know the basic
Yeah,
tenets of the Imperial Creed, or else you probably
which
will not
is
last
that
long.
to all the Emperor is a living god. As it says in the Laetitio Divinitatis, and this is the actual words from it, rejoice, God walks among us.
Right. You've got to remember that the Imperial faith is really a bunch of faiths wearing a big trench coat.
Yeah. He may be tens of thousands of light years away, but that he exists, the inhabitants of the Imperium know, so faith is an easy thing.
It's kind of really funny because
Like you have to, this is a set like that this you have to this is a setting where yes, they have tangible proof of a god.
right.
Like
Even though he's probably internally screaming about being called a god.
I mean, he's
but
internally screaming in general at this point.
there is living evidence, whether it be through the Space Marines, through images of the Emperor, through psychic powers,
Living
whatever.
saints, actual living saints, phenomenon like the Sanguinor.
Right. That there is some sort of like powerful thing. Mind you, the thing is in the war, the difference between a god and something that is immensely powerfully psychic can be very limited.
Yeah, and then you also have the tech priests of the Omnissiah, who also their god exists. It's in all the technology.
Must
Well,
represented by the Emperor.
no, the Omnissiah is the representation of the machine god upon the physical plane,
Hmm.
which is said to be the Emperor because he fulfilled a couple of prophecies. The machine god is also helped by the motive force, which is this energy that's in everything
It binds us and penetrates us.
that holds us together.
Actually, no, it would be funny if they just said it's mitochondria.
The powerhouse of the
I
cell.
mean, there are Mago biologists that probably would
That
advocate
look
for
into
that.
that sort of stuff. Yes, the
Like
motive
to
force
give you
is
an idea, there are
basically
tech priests on feral worlds that worship the primordial, worship the primordial force energy,
well
fire.
that is what the motive force is.
Fire in its true.
That's their
Fire is the
faith.
first
Yes,
example of motive force.
exactly, and that's where the machine cult can get very very interesting.
So
In
going back,
terms of
remember where we talked about the cavemen? Okay, hear me out. Their guns don't work, so they take it to their iron shaman, which is which is just a caveman wearing scrap armor and like a fucking skull, like a metal skull with red lenses on it. He looks at it, diagnoses it as witch cursed, hits it a few times to unclog the jam, and gives it back. After looking
the
into the
worst
fire
part
for a bit.
the worst part is that's only half of a joke
No, that's not. I'm
because
being
there's of course
serious.
this.
I'm making fun of it, but that is a serious thing you could do as a
I
tech
was gonna say
priest.
that's only half of a joke because there is in fact a rite of percussive maintenance, which is just hitting it until it works.
I wasn't
And then
joking. I was making like that is a genuine tech priest character. You could
yeah,
play an iron shaman, which is literally just a caveman covered in fucking scrap. Maybe replace their hand with a hook, and like fucking studying gun, hit gun on rock to unjam bullet, hand back
All right.
stubber. Like
It
also
reminds me of this is one of the funniest bits of like fan fiction ever written is the one where the feral worlders are there's like the sororitas there
oh yeah,
where
Emperor
they're yeah the emperor
betrayed
and
by his son, the horse,
the horse
first
it was a very evil looking horse
gave birth to
like
Wall named Dorn. Dorn the
where it's
Wall.
like where it's like the funniest bit about that is the most accurate depiction they had of course is of Lehman Russ.
Who was stealing a rent. It was like bare chested, had a massive barrel of booze in one hand, and a not
also
very hard resisting woman in the other.
Right.
also also uh well there is the Dragon of Mars. It might
There
be.
is a tech heresy
mean-
that does
I mean,
advocate for this. Yes.
If you do look at the Necrons, they are living machines.
There-
The
Well,
pure
yes and
embodiment,
no.
the
This
pure
is- this is-
the pure embodiment of the Omnissiah, his will made manifest. If technology, if he is through all technology, then it's even Xenos technology. And what is a pure
and this
aspect?
is where we
this
go.
this
Then,
point of
then
view failed.
immortality through
Let me.
the divine.
This point of view failed on Mars. This was part of the whole Horus heresy. Was also fighting people who believed in that shit. It still exists in Mars just because of the corrupting influence.
No,
of,
it exists throughout the
It exists
Imperium.
throughout the Imperium. The main thing is because the motive force is a general force, there's a genuine stream of Adeptus Mechanicus theological thought that goes that we should take the machines, the Xenos, and liberate them. Which basically means, in practice, sort of tech heresy, but not really. Basically, this is stuff like studying Xenos technology in order to understand its principles so that we can make our own machines in our own image that are not using... that aren't made
it's
by them to do
similar
the same
to,
thing.
but different from the sin of innovation. That's another one of the sins. The reason
Well-
being, well, no, there is a thing because the belief is since there was a previous golden age, the dark age of technology, anything beyond that is essentially trying to reinvent the wheel and spitting on the creators, but the builders of old. That's
also
one
for the-
aspect.
It's
The-
more that all knowledge has already been found
Yeah.
and created. It has existed and was created by the machine god. So by discovering, this is why the STC fragments are so important. It's not necessarily that innovation is heresy. It's that innovation without meticulous documentation and being very slow and proving that what you're doing is based entirely upon previous principles is heresy.
And if you're wondering, the counter argument is it is thoughts based on a human thought, which is inspired by the motive force. That's usually
Right.
the counter argument.
Which is one of the counter arguments for that there is no innovation. No, there is innovation in the mechanic.
It's just
The thing is that it's very slow, and it's very much evaluated by everyone else for the slightest whiff of tech heresy because they know what happens when magos get on these ideas, and they go off on their own and they start doing things
It's
in
also
a
a very
workshop.
common political weapon.
because here's the thing. Because hey, you know what's more efficient? If you remove the biological components from technology. I mean, that's just additional waste because you need to clean it and repair it and constantly keep it flowing. What if you just made it solely machine based? That's more efficient, right?
And this is where we get into the tech heresy of basically the thing that
Abominable
invalidates the motive
intelligence.
principle, which is
Yeah.
the abominable intelligence.
Which is based on the
And
Men
what
of
if it
Iron
thought-
revolt.
And what if it thought for itself? What if we didn't need to program it constantly? What if
And
it could
that's when the
program
tech
itself?
heresy stuff starts.
Yeah,
Now,
basically
this isn't to say that they don't play fast and loose with the AI rule to a degree.
Oh, they
They have
They
to.
100% do.
they have to sometimes.
instead of it being an actual human intelligence, it is more like a caged animal.
Well, it depends. Like some older technology, it's pretty heavily hinted they're like Men of Stone, like actual fucking machine AI. In other cases, what they
Titans.
do is they grow. In other cases, they actually grow biological computers to help supplement that. The best way to describe it is that it's a combination of theology and also just straight up politics, because a lot of these precepts and the interpretations are because Mars was not very fucking happy when they saw what its colonies' worlds were doing, especially since some of them were potentially rivals during the unification.
Yes. There's also a not unfounded fear that, oh, fuck, right, the Men of Iron, we could accidentally do that again.
Because
remember,
that was
They
one of the more
still
devastating
exist.
There's a couple
Yep.
that are still around, yeah.
There's a couple. Yeah.
No, I mean, like, straight up, one of them's disguised as a robot, and then there's a few others that occasionally pop up and fucking destroy things.
Now imagine if well, because you got things like Vashtor and the Dark Mayhem. What if some of them what if I got possessed by a demon?
Which
Right.
is one of the many possibilities
Which
of
is
what
one of
happened.
which is also one of the things that should be talked about a little bit, but with like the idea of abominable intelligence, is it might not be exactly about AI. It might be a condemnation of shoving something like a demon in a machine to more than that, or at least originally. Because Age of Strife Mars is a fucking nightmare place.
Oh, it still is.
It still is. They
It
just
still
were
is.
able to contain it partially.
But the people who deal with all those threats within and without, when you don't need to bring the hammer of the of the Marines with the anvil of the Guard. Here come the Inquisition.
Yeah, with the knives
Look
out
out,
into your
Sin, the
back.
Inquisition!
And here's what the Inquisition effectively looks like in the structure.
Inscription
Right.
above the gates of the Collection Conclave Spire. Innocence proves nothing.
Nothing.
There's a great quote that's going around now that straight up feels like it's from Warhammer. Where you hear people say, like, mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the innocent. That's an inquisitorial quote right there.
It is. It's basically it's nonsense, really, because the point of mercy is that it allows you to actually have a functional society.
Because if an eye for an eye, everyone eventually becomes blind.
Exactly.
But the Inquisition would be fine with that, because then you can't see.
Exactly. And this is where the Inquisition gets really fun of like, remember, there's an entire order of the Inquisition devoted to collecting all information that the Imperium has on its history and its logistics and all this other stuff, and getting the truth of the matter and investigating that. There's a separate ordo that is entirely dedicated to hushing up the truth of everything and writing propaganda. They have no idea that the other one exists.
And
But you do have the main
there's
ordos.
There's the three, but then there's a lot more. I don't know if they
The
go into
Heretic
the other ones.
Malice, Xenos. Also, NDR, empathy is a sin. Oh yes, do not follow the sin of empathy.
Of empathy.
In
which
fairness,
is one of the
people who
things.
use empathy, they tend to be the most psychopathic of all because it's just a fancy word for narcissism.
When it comes to those people, but in when people are using that phrase in modern day, they're basically saying, "Hey, you know the poor people? Let's stomp on them."
And that's why those types of people you can very happily stomp on back.
The idea that empathy is a sin is a fucking retarded one.
In 40k though, well,
it is a sin.
Not only is it a sin,
yeah,
but usually if you show mercy, it usually fucks you in the ass anyway.
Well, there's always those great ones where, hey, get that child on the refugee ship. Gene Stealer called child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, Psyker who's been possessed.
Yeah, they do give on some of the other ordos, like some police the death cult, some police black ships, others watch the guard in the
minor ordos
navy.
are a fun part of the Inquisition.
Yeah. There's also the Ordo Chronos.
Yes, who are trying to stop time travelers.
They have disappeared. But then you have, when you get a gathering of Inquisitors together,
a conclave,
to make sure they don't kill each other, you have a conclave.
And by the way, the killing each other, this thing is actually a genuine concern, as some of the nastiest interconflicts between systems are because of this.
Because I want you to look at that image right there on 274. So notice, I believe both have the inquisitorial symbol.
They do.
But you'll also notice the one on the right, or the one on the left, has a book. Do you see what star that book is?
Yeah, but also...
That's an 8-pointed Star of Chaos, and that's a daemon sword he's wielding.
Yeah.
The thing is that they go a lot more into this in other books about the nature of...
the factions, Puritans and Radicals.
Because here's the other thing you didn't point out. Notice that there's also the Aquila on top of it and purity seals. Several purity seals on that book.
Yep, because there's
he's a radical.
Right, because there's radicals that have the philosophy that, you know, the devil's tools can be used to serve your against the devil's ends.
To quote from the Lord of the Rings, why not? This is a gift. Why not use the Dark Lord's ring against him, the weapon of his own.
And there's an entire group that basically goes like, yeah, we know that this is really dangerous and really stupid to do because it will damn the souls of those who do it. But we're pure of will enough to know this. So we should use them against them and destroy everyone.
Or they may know that they will fall, and they literally have a code of like, well, if I'm too far gone, kill me, take over the work.
There's another case where it's you have to know what evil is to know how to fight it.
So you have like the Puritans, though, like the Amalathians, who believe the status quo must be preserved.
There's the monodominants, which are
You know,
basically
hold on.
kill everything that isn't
Yeah.
human.
The radicals, where you've got the Xanthanites, who believe, yes, we can use daemons and artifacts to fight chaos, and then the Istavanians, who believe that the Imperium becomes stronger through war and catastrophe. Therefore, they foment as much rebellion and destruction at every opportunity to prune the
winnow
wheat
out the
from the
wheat.
chaff. Yeah,
Estvanians,
Basically,
yeah.
they're like never let a good crisis go to waste. Create a war zone on a planet. That way, we get a bunch more soldiers on it. Isn't that a great thing to get?
I'm surprised. I mean,
Uh,
they are as close as humanly possible, I think, to being fucking censored.
Well, no. The thing is that a lot of these inquisitorial
they
mindsets, a lot of them have a point. Like the thing about the Xanthites is you can go on and on about
like
how like, oh, we need to be pure, we need to avoid all
No,
this.
I
The thing is
understand the
the
Xanthites because
Xanthites
you have to know how the Ooga Booga works in order to
like
banish it.
like here's the thing.
exactly.
Who was the guy who did the gate or the guarding around the Octarians, the Orc of Octarius, sent the Tyranids to
Krypton,
them. Krypton. Yeah,
Inquisitor Krypton.
Krypton's a radical. He has been excommunicated, but I guarantee you he did stall off the Tyranids and the Orcs for some time.
At least a
Well, the thing
couple
about
centuries,
Krypton is
yeah.
that Krypton did in fact create corridors that we know where the Hive Fleet will be going now. Because he obliterated a bunch of worlds that were in their path and
He also
diverted
did that.
Yeah, I don't
In
know. The
other words,
Estvanian mindset just sounds really fucking stupid because Nicholas gives my reasoning for that. Yeah, there's a book that had one of these guys wipe out an entire planet just to get one soldier. They considered that a benefit.
yep, because they see the resources of the Imperium as utterly infinite, which is. Let's also talk about that there is, in fact, a radical group of Inquisitors whose entire shtick is that maybe we shouldn't be doing this, guys. Maybe we should try to actually reform the Imperium.
Heresy.
Exactly. Which is the funniest fucking thing of like the idea of maybe things could be slightly better could in fact be a radical
well, actually, because here's
philosophy.
the thing with the Estavanians, they hold Sebastian Thor in high regard because his reforms were only possible through the wars in the Age of Apostasy.
Right. And then there's an entire group that's like, you know how the Emperor kind of manifested himself? Let's try to do that again with his body and get him off the Golden Throne.
And there's the Illuminati.
Everyone else fucking hates them because
There's
they
all-
are incredibly dangerous. Because here's the thing: it's the danger isn't just what if they fail because suddenly the emperor's gone. It's what if they actually succeed because no one wants to know what the outcome of that's going to be.
Especially
there's
since one of the many retcons is we finally learned what the final order for the Grey Knights is, which is, yeah, kill the
If he
Emperor.
gets off the chair, put him the fuck
no,
back on it.
Because here's the thing. What if the thing that comes off that's been sitting there for 10,000 years is no longer
the emperor?
Is no longer the emperor or the god emperor of mankind, but a dark and terrible king.
And that is what they kind of
The
retconned it
Terminus
into,
Decree,
yeah.
Like the Terminus Decree, if you evaluate it from that perspective, it makes sense. The problem is that outright stating it is kind of the problem, especially because the Grey Knights. There's no fucking way the Grey Knights can do it. There's the fucking Sisters of Silence there. They just get bodied.
Well, here's the thing. Hey, remember how the emperor was created? The deaths
Yes.
of many psychers at the same time.
Potentially. I mean, that's a real fucking. That's a real fucking wild.
The other thing
idea.
also is the Sisters of Silence, though, would not be loyal to whatever comes off the throne. The Custodes would, though.
Here's
right.
You mentioned that Terminus Decree is actually they go there just so they all collectively die to bring him back. That's another one.
That is, yeah.
Mass ritual ending.
That's a 7-dimensional chess move there. So I can see it. I think it's still kind of stupid though.
I think it's more along the lines of if Get Up, one of the three will have to do it. The Custodes are probably never going to be able to. So Sisters, Grey Knights, try to stop me if I get up. I'm probably not going to be me if I get up.
The thing is, who wrote the decree then? Because there is another Terminus Decree which was kill all Space Marines through a genetic virus. That's not the same one.
That's a different one. That's Malcador's.
Oh, that's Basil Foes. I don't know if that's Mal, but still.
And before it turned out it's actually Omegons all along.
That was the long play.
Because remember, one of the first Black Shields was one of the twins.
Wait, no, no.
That is one of the takes on it.
Oh, it could be, but no. The Emperor gets up. You know the helmet that's in the John Blanche takes it up, dusts it off. It's blue, but like a teal blue.
It was
I have
Alfarius all along.
Alfarius after
Fooled
Horus
you.
after Horus killed him, swap bodies with the Emperor.
Honestly, that sounds like a thing out of Spaceballs, and I'm for it. That is my new. That is a fantastic theory, and I kind of love it.
But
Like
we then
genuinely,
get
that's
the,
amazing.
it goes into the ranks of like an Inquisitor, their acolytes, their contacts, their informants, how they deal with what an acolyte does. They mostly will investigate, gather missions, um, maybe use psychic stuff, find leads, extract information, purge.
This is
You
also a
know,
beautiful way to explain how a Dark Heresy campaign will work, because
yeah,
usually, if you're going to do a Dark Heresy campaign, ideally you want to start with new recruits. And then from there, as they continue to somehow not die, or alternatively die like frogs in fucking blenders, um, the
they
survivors
also
eventually get proven.
they also give customs for the Calexian Conclave, the
Oh,
proper
they
way.
also cover one of my favorites is eventually you can become an interrogator, which is essentially an inquisitor
In
candidate.
yeah.
And those are fun. That we mentioned it, but the All Guardsmen party actually had that as one of their characters for a bit.
Oh, and then there's a 280. Oh, that was the Witch Hunters Codex book. I remember seeing that in stores.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
it
And to
is
there's a
the
me,
lot
Witch
of.
Hunters.
what was favored is the Baroque pistol that's a flamethrower.
Oh man, look at all this shit.
There's the Repentia there, pretty much naked. Another one that looks kind of like it's wearing like a capoeira or something like that.
It's not wearing a
It's
caparota. It's
it's
wearing
not
like an
no, it's not a capoeira.
executioner's hood.
Ah,
There's also a mourning veil for one of them.
and then a bunch of Sisters of the Bloody Rose. I believe I believe that is the Bloody Rose.
Yeah, they do have rules for interrogators in Ascension. It's pretty fun. They also go into some customs of the Calixian Conclave, because here's the thing. Dark Heresy was specifically written in mind for Calixis. If you are not familiar with the setting, Calixis is a very good setting to start with. They give enough that
The
you can kind of
Calixtus
play around
sector
with it.
is basically, but what they give you in this core book with the Calixtus sector is a summary of several types of imperial worlds, the structure of the politics of the sector, a bunch of plot hooks for groups that you might be investigating, and a couple of like big threats, along with a group of inquisitors that you could be working for, which is
And
the
they also
Tyrantine Cabal.
eventually write adventures for you too, which is very
Yeah,
useful.
Yes,
they've got
they
here like what was it? The Emperor's Grace. The Calixian Conclave has a bunch of saints that you can pray to for crimes you've committed.
Oh yeah, and they even show what an example of the saints are. So here's the thing, right? In life, sometimes you get blessed by some form of force. The Emperor, essentially, but it could also just be humanity's belief because you did a lot of good. No one really knows for sure. I mean, theologically, it's the Emperor. In death, you come back as these. Essentially, sometimes you
Well,
come
no,
back.
well, no. Sometimes they're living saints, or after a great deed has been done. It's like saints in real life. You get canonized.
Did you know that? So here's the at the end of the Only War campaign, one of my characters became a living saint on accident.
Nice. Like Saint Aret the Lethicant.
In this case,
Saint
it was
Aret is
Saint
a martyr.
Muhammad because he was a Talarni.
Uh, the nature of his death, and indeed his true name, has been lost to the ages, but it was a miraculous death, one of the spectacular cases of martyrdom. In between the petition for his beatification and the eventual granting of his sainthood, his legend was forgotten. When scribes of the
The,
Calexian Conclave searched the archives, they found that the book of his deeds was damaged, his name half erased, and his achievements molded away. If must be right, he should be guarded over what should not be remembered.
for all you know, this might actually be like a genuine fucking traitor, but because of the rot
they
and
they actually make some implications about that. Maybe a couple of these saints are actually traitors.
Well, I mean, remember, there was Saint Basilius, who sent 30 Space Marine chapters into the warp. When the survivors that didn't go traitor came back, they found that he was still alive and a heretic, and tossed him and his followers into the sun.
One of the other fun things is this is actually a reference to real. There are a few real saints that, for example, Saint Dismas. This is a real character. Um,
Yeah.
he's kind of a fangry creation of the repentant thief who was crucified alongside Jesus. There's not really any details on his life. It's all kind of like fan fiction that was written about him.
Yeah, basically the fan fiction is that he is the crucified, the repentant saint next to Jesus on the cross.
Yep.
He's the
He's
one
one of the three crucified. That's Dismas. Now,
The
the
one-
fun bit
I
about
believe
Dismas is that he is basically entirely a fan fiction saint. There's like zero chance
the
that
name,
anything about him
yeah, the
is
name wouldn't be there, but yeah,
like nothing about this man is probably real,
And
which
there's a
is
few
what's fun
saints that
about
are
it.
like this that are
he
only known because of how they died. Like, here's a
if any,
saint who was killed by being burned alive in a fucking oven.
he literally must be, I don't know, he's some Jewish thief that was crucified.
No, like literally,
Like
there's
that.
a couple of saints who's like they're the patron saint of a thing because they were killed in an ironic punishment kind of way, and that's kind of all we really know, other than they refused to repent.
There's also more than a few
They
saints
refused
that
to
were
convert.
small local deities that basically just somebody's like, fuck it, they're a saint.
Or alternatively, they're like part of 30 people that were martyred. Like there's the 30 like there's the 40 martyrs of whatever. Like there's several that
Yeah,
are just legitimately because they're part of a group that were massacred.
Yeah, again, saints are a fun thing to
I
look up because they're
that's what that's one of the things I do
And
like
that
about
is low
Christianity.
key
It's
why
it's fun.
and that is low key why the living saint element for Muhammad by the end was pretty
I mean,
funny because
I
they
mean,
they did some real heroic shit, like
but
unironically.
remember, there is a Catholic saint of the internet.
yes, who has miracles assigned to him because like you have to have miracles to be a saint, unless you're a really really old saint and a martyr, at which point you just have to die in a really fucked up way.
If you're wondering how the living saint element was legitimately because of coincidental psychic phenomenon that actually somehow aided the party a couple times because one of
Or
my
you could
players
be a
played
mutant.
a psyker.
Or you could be a mutant. Yes, one of the funniest bits about that is there's a saint that's famous because it's like, I think it was like Saint Sebastian, where it's like, oh, they shot him full of arrows and he didn't die, and it's like, oh, cool. What happened next? Oh, they just cut off his head.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, like I guess God was like, maybe no, not this one time, buddy. That's your one get out of jail free card.
I forget. Isn't there like a saint of Tanners whose like entire thing was he was skinned alive? Like he was Assyrian
Yeah.
skinned alive, and he's now the saint of Tanners because like his
Yes, there's the Saint of Comedians made a joke while he was being roasted alive,
Based.
which, yeah,
there's a
he made a
reason why
joke about it.
there's a reason why
I
the
mean,
Catholic Church made suicide a sin.
Right.
yeah, but
There's a
it's
lot
like
of
that again. It's like that one guy in the sandwich fryers, like saying more weight. There is something to be like as you're dying, you're like, bring it on.
well,
That is
his
beautiful.
joke literally was that this side's a little too well done. Could you flip me over?
And that was the last things he said because he was basically
That's
already
among the
dying.
last things he was saying. Yeah, which is like that's why he's the patron saint of comedians because those last words.
And then the last section relatively is Calixis, which they go into some stuff about it.
They go
They
into
give
it. They
actually
give it.
all of the worlds in the sector, giving you a good size of what a sector actually is.
Yes, they give you a very good summary of what a sector actually is. They have a nice bestiary and an adventure in the end of it, and that just sort of wraps up the book.
Also, yeah, they also show you what a subsector would look like. So they give you the Josian Reach, for example. That's a subsector. So this if you
The
want to create your
Drusius
own setting,
March.
if you ever want to
Yeah,
create your own setting, this is actually a really useful guide on how this would look. I actually did
Yes.
this once. I actually did that for my only war campaign. I called it, I think, the Argos subsector. It's not as big as these. It's about the size of about half of Malthian. It's like a smaller one. It's like half or 2/3 of Malthian. But it is fun. Like if you do love world building, I do genuinely.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
especially
Like
since there are there used to be really cool planet generators for this sort of stuff.
I'm sure 1d6 Tran still has them.
Oh yeah.
They do.
The other thing is because now we got the Dark Heresy RPG coming out through Owlcat. It's going to take place in this game, in the Closer Center, but with the new modern lore, so the Great Rift and the Dark Imperium. And I remember I did that for second edition. I had a campaign that I ran, and then right after I finished the campaign, 8th edition. So I'm like, well, how did they survive? And something may have happened that allowed them to maintain some stability.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff with that because it's like you got to remember that the Deathwatch campaign setting was around where the Hadex anomaly is now, which could lead to a lot of very interesting ideas for a Deathwatch RPG.
Especially
Because
since the Hadex anomaly deals with space-time malformations, which means time travel's a thing that happens there.
Potentially,
here's
but also
here's
that
the
there's a bunch of Xeno stuff around that was exterminating life.
there's also
Well,
the fact that
wonder.
it appeared visible throughout the entire Ultima Segmentum at the same time, just like the Great Rift.
I'm just looking at the art on page 291 as this is going on.
Again, more
I love the drip.
stuff. Like the drip. It's like, what are these things?
All of the drip on these
What
people.
Those are
the fuck is that
that's
guy's cards?
I
That's a tarot deck, isn't it?
Emperor's Tarot is pretty I think this is actually a psyker.
It could be
It could also be he could also be he could
a
also
preacher,
a tech priest maybe.
Nah,
alchemist. But then you got the next image there of the Tyrant Star on the upper right. But I like all the Imperium citizens. You've got, you know, a bunch of people screaming, a bunch of Doom prophets. You got one guy with a hood on saying "Sacred."
Well, yeah, because the Tyrant Star is one of the more disturbing threats that you have to deal with in the
We don't know
sector.
what it is. Yeah, we don't know what it is.
It also just straight up, whenever it appears above a world, it eats the sun of that world for a little while and replaces it. And yeah, it's basically Morsley on crack. It
You've
causes
got a whole bunch
mutation.
of different
It
planets.
invites insanity. It is not a pretty
You've
phenomenon.
got Scintilla, which has like tricorn hat wearing Fusiliers.
It's essentially an uplifted Baroque period setting, and it's really fun.
You've got what do they get
You
here?
have this Gothic and Art Deco feeling, and it just unironically, if you told me this is what Nostromo looked like before Conrad Kurz burned it, I would believe you.
You have Icanthos, which is a lawless world dominated by warlords. Um, it's only useful to the Imperium because Ghostfire pollen can be grown there, which is used by the
which can
Penal
be
Legions.
again, it's used by the penal legions. But the most thing about it is that it's a really because it's a fucking psychotic drug that helps with
It's a 5 billion population world.
yes, that is basically entirely goddamn
Mad Max.
yeah.
And they have an example
got-
of one of its devotees wearing a portable shrine.
You've got Cephras Secundus, which is we talked about earlier, mining world, a feudal mining world
Suffering Kingdom.
with its own, the capital of Iceholm, the Gorgodin mine. Oh wait, 306. That's Adrian Smith artwork.
Mhm.
That all fleshy and metally.
The Misery Chord, which is an example of the chartists that come here.
Is it? Yeah.
It's an example of just your generalship.
And then 310. I love this artwork. Someone's being accused of something. I just can't tell what it.
Well, no, the better part is you see the guy sitting up there, and it looks like he's counter-accusing.
Well, there's that guy. There's an Inquisitor there. There's also a fat fuck next to him. Then you got the sister moving around. You've got another guy like talking to someone.
Several being chained away. You see what looks to be
You've also
several
got
servitors.
on the bottom there, like he's reading this. You've got a bunch of people. They're just doing like torture right next to him. Meanwhile, you've got this one guy who's got like this helmet talking to. It looks like a servitor that's only got its brain is just yelling at him like, "What are you doing?"
No, actually, I think that's supposed to be a Voxhaler.
Yeah, that's
Also, you
like
get again some more color arts for Archdeacon
how
Miller.
various Oh, they give us even like power groups, like various corporations. The Celestial Alliance.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit, man. There
Control Agra Worlds, the Devian Incorporation, trains laymen, the Machenko Dynasty, which some of the stuff, this looks like an image out of Star Wars.
yeah, actually several of these do look like you're saying that. I remember one of the books we covered actually had I believe this was like an example of mercenary companies or
Like bounty hunter guilds.
bounty hunter guilds, also criminal corporations that were not stuff like Blackstone or the Consortium.
Nicholas Liu saying, there's a world that built guns from human thigh bones.
Yep.
You could do that.
Oh, and then, yeah, the Tyrantine Cabal. Which the
Yep. These are the
Cabal,
guys that are trying to figure out the Tyrant Star.
known as Tyrantes or Spectarians.
And there's a
The
bunch of
Cabal,
people here.
the only people who know their existence, Lord Sector Hacks, Chief Astropath Zhao, and a few others know of their existence.
Yeah, there's not a lot of
And
people
then,
that are
yeah,
working on
the
it.
so-called facts of the Tyrant Star, Comus.
They also give you other sector worlds, and they give a bunch of these, which are just minor details.
Anton Zareb, Witchfinder Rikus of the Ordo Hereticus, Daemon Hunter Asma, Inquisitor Astrid Skane, Van Vugs, Globus Varric,
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Lady Olethine Rathbone, Inquisitor Soladin. I'm pretty sure people have made miniatures of this already.
Several have been made.
Yes.
I've just moved on to other
The
sector
guy
worlds.
that you see in the trailer for the Dark Heresy book is the one on the chair.
Wait,
The book, the game. That's the guy.
the Zebre?
Anton Zerb.
Zebre. Okay, let's take a look at that mask he's holding.
Oh, oh, is that a Blood Angel mask?
Sort of. It's an
Oh
Inquisitor.
no, it's Inquisitor symbol on it.
Like, take a look at the guy that's in the trailer and look at his mask and then look at that mask.
But hey, good to know he's still alive.
That's why I think it actually might be set before the Great Rift. I don't know.
No, it is set after. I think they've said it's set after.
Well, then he's still alive, which means he's around, I'm going to say 400, 500 years old.
Rejuvenate treatments.
You've got, they bring up the Drushish Shrine World.
Yeah, I was actually there for a little bit.
Classic Saint Drusus, Fenx World, Grand Gold, the Lathes.
The Lathes are actually known for their Forge World. They actually have an entire adventure in this area.
They have an entire source book based around them.
Mm-hmm. The Masked, a cult belonging to a number of noble houses. They believe that the civilized Imperium wears a mask refiner in devoted duty, beneath which lies man's natural affinity with lurid machinations of the warp.
It's a Slaaneshi cult.
No, it's a chaos cult.
Just chaos in general.
In general.
Yeah, okay.
Or is it? Because here's the thing. Mankind's true nature as a chaotic species is revealed. Is that kind of what the Emperor was trying to do?
I do love one of the world's descriptions is a death world, extremely hazardous. That's it. That's all you get.
I mean, you don't really...
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
I love it.
They might have had more ideas, but then they saw how many... Like, do we want to
no, that is 100% point, because it gives you questions.
Yeah, but also look at the formatting. Look at how they ended right before it would have to have another page.
That's true. But
it's a page formatting thing, but it's still that's there, and that's really funny.
It's why Tranche also has one sentence. Minor Hive World in the
Tranche will be expanded later on. But yeah, they go into your creature stuff, and I think we can kind of stop here for tonight because this is
It's a pretty thick book. It's a pretty solid book. I would argue that this is probably my favorite of the Fantasy Flight Black industry books. I was never able to actually get games for it to work out, mainly just because, so here's the thing, right? It is due to Dark Heresy that I learned how worthless it is to recruit on Roll20. I
could have told you that without even having to do that.
This was really early on. This is like fuck, man, this is like over a decade ago. So I was trying to get into a game. Out of 6 campaigns, try to guess how many I was in that actually had at least a session.
0.
1.
Maybe 0.5.
I had 1 game that got there.
Well, people just quibbling on what, like their backgrounds?
So I also was desperate to try to get into Death Watch at the time as well. I was desperate for any form of 40k game just because I liked Dawn of War, and I was like, hey, I don't really have the brain power or the finances to bother with a fucking minis army because I'm looking at these prices and
And that was
no,
Yeah.
prices a decade ago.
I don't care. It's still dumb. So
Yeah,
I looked at
it
that and said, yeah, no, I'd rather just play more Dawn of War. So I got in that way. The worst example had to be a Death Watch campaign because that canceled 1 hour before the first session.
The fuck happened?
So one person didn't want to show up, and apparently this guy wanted to run the game specifically because that one guy wanted to play. And when he didn't
Or
show
one of
up,
those
fuck that.
situations.
This is why you need to at least know people beforehand. At least
This is also why I considered Cyberpunk settings to be kind of cursed, because I had the same problem with both Shadowrun and Cyberpunk until I goddamn took it by its throat and ran it myself. My favorite being the time I was in a Cyberpunk game, we got our session 0, and then session 1 never fucking happened after we created our characters.
ooh.
That was actually kind of infuriating.
Were you running that game or
No, that's the one that made me lose patience with actually playing in it, because I was like, yeah, if I have to deal with these types of fucking flakes, I better run it myself.
hmm.
But yeah, all in all, I would rate this as I would probably I kind
It's
of want
what
to give it an amazing. I kind of want to, but I don't know if that is actually a fair rating because
There
it could be
are
biased.
mechanical issues with it. That is a
Yeah.
little bit of your bias. This is when you consider its impact, though, on the general state of Warhammer, you could argue that it does deserve an amazing in retrospect. This is one of the games that became basically defining almost like canon book for a lot of people. This is a fundamental part of the view that a lot of people have on Warhammer as a setting, as it exists into the modern day, comes from these books. That's an
there's a
insane
there's a few
impact.
areas. It's gonna be Dawn of War, the actual game, Space Marine, Bricky's videos on the lore,
Because of course, Bricky. I
Yeah.
remember when he was doing
eh,
Dead by Daylight and League of Legends
eh,
content.
text to
I would,
speech. It's gonna be text to speech or this.
and this is arguably the one that's had the most long-term impact because a lot of like what you consider lore about the day-to-day running of the Imperium is in here.
It was compiled from other sources or actually written for this.
Right. Like a lot of the stuff about like what is the code of the machine god actually believe? Oh, a good chunk of it comes from Life Worlds.
Hmm.
Uh, if
Because
I
it
remember
was in
correctly.
it was in I think some of the codexes at some point, but it was just like all compiled really neatly in Lathe Worlds.
Right. Like that's the thing. A lot of the stuff that's in here is like compilations of everything
It
else that was
single-handedly wrote
written
out the
before.
Inquisitors though, and gave like
Though
the other
yes, it did.
suborders.
It actually gave the Inquisitors a lot more to do and a lot more information about them to the point where pretty much anyone that goes like, "Oh, here's the lore of the Inquisition," it's just reciting exactly what comes out of Dark Heresy.
It's that good. And on top of that, it has all if you like Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green, it kind of really scratches that itch.
Yes, this is a game where yes, there's a lot of focus on combat. I mean, it's fucking 40k, but a lot of the fun of this is your investigation
Yeah, just as much of
because
it is spot like think about it like this. You're going on a world and trying to you have to infiltrate it because the Inquisition usually only goes loud if it has to.
They do mention though that there are some inquisitors that like to be obvious, because when they're obvious, it means that people start just confessing random shit,
Mhm.
and oftentimes in those confessions are the hints to actual problems.
Which actually leads me to a fun Inquisitor idea. Just I'm going to spitball it. Your Inquisitor boss is actually the interrogator, and the reason that they're public is they are the. You know how in dueling you usually try to distract the eye so that you can get them with the gouge knife? The
Yes,
real
that's a
Inquisitor
not
is
an
the.
uncommon thing for inquisitors to do, is that there's oftentimes, for every very loud obvious one that's around, there's another guy that's skulking in the shadows seeing what he drives into cover. Because and they oftentimes will then not even know that the other one is working on the same world, like, well, at least one of them won't know the other guy's working on the same world, to the point where like their inquisitor agents could get into running gun battles in the street, because it's like, who are you working for? I'm with Inquisitor XYZ. I'm with Inquisitor ABC. You
Oh,
know,
I
it's like,
I had in my campaign uh had the uh acolytes being sent to go after, I think it was like a rogue inquisitor or whatnot, and it turns out no, they're hunting their actual inquisitor. The guy who they were working for was originally the interrogator, the scion of the inquisitor, but he's going traitor and he's trying to do some scheme, some warp
like
shenanigans.
to hide. Okay, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's the other thing, is this is all of your big paranoid absurd like spy thriller novel plots, just plop them in this game.
Speaking of
It's
which,
perfect for it.
you're mentioning this. So the only war campaign I played. Do you want to know how they ran into an Inquisitor at one point, and it's because of the Living Saint incident caused by psychic phenomenon? The Inquisitor legitimately said up front, in normal circumstances, I would kill every one of you. I would kill your entire regiment because you are spreading actual false godhood here. You're spreading false divinity. You are clearly not one of what you are. However, if I do this, I destabilize the sector, and on top of that, we kind of need you for the next crusade.
One of the things they talk about a bit
So
in the
what we're
background,
going to do is we're going to fake it until you fucking make it, pal.
they sort of talk about that in the backstory of like Drusus and a few other saints. Actually, Lord Solar Macaris is another example of this, to a degree, of like that the Inquisition sees the guy and they're like, oh, wait a minute, we can use this.
No, he's not even using it. It's a case of, look, my normal inclination would kill this guy, everyone around him, kill his commanding off, kill every one of them, because this could lead to like a false like it could lead to a false
A
crusade.
false
It could
god. Yeah.
not a false god. It could lead to heresy slash lost and damned, but not necessarily chaos. It could lead to intersector
Rene,
strife.
some like, yeah, this could cause some actual problems with like the religious order.
But if I
So
do this, and on top of that, they were able to get this planet partially back under control. That's a planet
close
we might
enough.
have to exterminate. This is a night world. That's the other thing. This is a night world. This is one of the few things that in the area that actually deal with like Titan-sized machinery.
Yeah.
If we lose
Also,
it in this sector, we have fucking Necrons. That's a problem.
Oswald here is saying we'd review later editions of it.
There's
We
not really
might.
that much. There's not really that
There's really
I
much.
mean,
not
more
much that
books,
changes.
more books in it.
More
Obviously,
books
explain the
Like,
lore
certainly,
in it.
but
certainly.
like
The
second
changes
edition is
between
mostly
first and
mechanical.
second edition, yeah,
Yeah.
the changes are mechanical, and a lot of it is just more, here we're patching up some of the issues that we saw with the previous edition's character charts.
Introducing a few new flaws because I think they kind of fuck up career a little bit. There's like a couple of different flaws.
There's a couple of like, there's some better things about the system, and then there's some problems with the system. It's one of those like, I like the idea that they have with their psychic powers of basically, instead of just being a list that you're drawing off of, it's more of like a powered tree that you're expanding what you're doing
yeah. The way
off
they
of
handle
that.
psychers, they really changed up how they worked because in
They
the
really
first,
changed up how they work, and I argue for the better, because it meant that
as a
your
whole, yeah.
starting like, yeah, it gave you a sense of progression to being a psyker. There was a few other things that was kind of nice that they added, which was sort of like how the roles were not as restrictive to what you could get skill wise. That was nice. There were a few other things where I was like, this might need some work. The subtlety mechanics could have used some work. There was a bit of problems with like how the influence mechanic worked to a degree. They kind of tried to balance the weapons out. It didn't really work as well as they could have, and it also sort of made everything that you had in the vast gear list from first edition, I mean, like not really easy to port over to second.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem is convertibility for the
Yeah,
equipment.
that's really the only major flaw of the second, combined with the fact that it was coming out just as Fantasy Flight's starting to die. And as it's going down, they managed to release a grand total of 3 actual source books for second edition. And it's also in a
What?
completely different
Yeah,
sector from the Calixtus sector.
it is. One fleshing out the enemy within, enemy
Without and the
without,
enemy beyond.
no.
Yeah.
Yes.
And honestly, those are all great titles to sum up like, here's your book for your Order Hericus, Ordo Xenos, and Ordo Malleus, and here's what's going on in the sector about that. I like
And they
that all.
function just fine. Those books function
Yes.
fine. There could have been more, but it was already going out.
Yep, and that's sort of the end of Dark Heresy as a legacy until we had Imperium Maledictum, because Wrath and Glory is a goddamn mess.
Yeah, fuck Wrath and Glory.
That was more designed for being
Wrath
combat.
and Glory was from a different studio before Cubicle 7 also took it over.
Really?
If I remember correctly.
I think, yeah. I don't really care for it. It's... No, thank you.
And Wrath and Glory is one of those things where it's like, I think that there was a corporate mandate to try to make a D6 game.
Which could work. You could do... I mean, that's how West End Games did it, but like...
Yes, the problem is you want to make a D6 power scaling game where you want your party to potentially include a Space Marine and someone normal. I am very sorry, that is not going to work.
It's not going to work easily.
Unless you get into absurd dice pools, it's not going to work.
Case in point, it's similar to how... a really excellent example of this is how fucking cracked Jedi can get in West End games, just because of their lightsaber combat.
Right. Now
Yeah,
imagine
I could throw
that,
13d6 dice with my Makashi form combat dueling. You're just fucked,
yes.
pal. You're just dead. I'm sorry.
Yes,
you're
now
dead.
imagine, as I said, now imagine that, except that
it's
is
an 8-foot
everything
tall
that if you're
Palooka
not...
wearing ceramite armor with bolter rounds.
Right. It's worse.
Oh, and a power fist.
It's worse, and it just does not balance itself out well. And that's sort of the quick history rundown of the 40k franchise and where it stands. Imperium Maledictum is basically a third edition of Dark Heresy, as I've mentioned before.
Yep, and it covers the whole galaxy getting goat's eat in half, the Dark Imperium. It covers all that.
It's that sort of stuff is actually completely irrelevant to what's going on, because you're in the part of the Imperium with the Astronomicon still, because you're in the ass end of nowhere in the Makarian sector.
Okay.
You know, after Lord Solar Makarus, and one of the worlds is his basically one of the worlds in the sector is in fact the world where he's buried, and it's very important because of that.
Yeah, I did like from second. There's one planet where basically a whole group of people from another planet, it was like a chaos world or whatever. Not Inquisitor. It includes Erica guy, gathers a whole crusade, gets to the planet. They don't hear anything back. Years later, they get a message back. It knows.
And then they burn that world to the fucking ground.
No, it's just quarantined.
Oh, I thought that was the world where they did the giant pyre of heretics on it.
No.
Nope. They quarantined it.
Man.
What they're saying is Text Talk's making 1.5 Dark Heresy. I don't.
Oh, that is another legacy aspect. Much like how D&D 3.5 created a ton of proprietary IP shit. Dark Heresy was, due to its mechanics and how it worked, very, very modifiable. A ton of people on TG made their own personal projects. We actually covered one of them, Adeptus Evangelion.
Which is a hack of Dark Heresy to make it about Ava, which
and it did pretty
works.
okay. It did pretty solidly. We did that as a video. Look up. It's called the Nerve of It All.
There is also the semi-joke of the made RPG hack for Dark Heresy.
There's a made RPG hack. There's several others that exist as well.
Because somebody basically made the point that made the RPG is about playing, the master, the butler, and the maids. That's change the name for the Master over to the Inquisitor, and it's basically the same game.
Yeah, if you don't want to have to translate Japanese via machine translating, it's probably the best option.
Which results in some very weird stuff if you're talking about the main RPG.
But
The idea of running it with Dark Heresy rules is really funny.
I'm just now
But-
envisioning the Tech Priest character legitimately being able to turn into a moped.
but that I guess leaves us for what we do next week. I do have something that we could plan for the 250th anniversary of the U.S., or do we want to do that after the 4th of July?
Probably after.
It depends. It really does depend.
Well, we
I
will.
mean, the 4th is going to be a Saturday this year, so
Yeah. Well, we will keep looking through, and when we find
we'll
what
try to
we're
we'll
yeah.
try to figure out something good.
Or something interestingly terrible. I have a few
Yeah.
interestingly terrible books.
Ooh.
Well, what's the difference between that and good with what we do?
Well, it depends. Do you want to look through the price of freedom for our 4th of July?
That's what it
Isn't
was.
that
That's what it was. That's what I was gonna do.
Sorry, which one is that again? Is that the civil? Is it the
No.
That's the
Revolutionary
Soviet
War?
Union invading us one.
Oh, that piece of shit.
Yeah.
Also, Werewolf Wild West.
Oh,
could.
yes, that would actually be a pretty
You know
good
what?
one
It'll
too.
be Werewolf and then Price of Freedom.
Wild Wild West, where you got to fight the giant Weaver robot worm from Autochthonia because the producer wanted a giant robot spider.
And remember, everyone, innocence proves nothing.
Also, it will eventually get canceled because at one point, a Geta Fenris kind of, commits genocide against the Wendigos. Don't talk about it.
We
Good
don't talk
night.
about that. Good night.
Night.